see any level? Can I tap that?
Is there a place to plug in?
Do you see any level?
Yeah, there's still a buzz though.
No?
There's a buzz.
Oh, there you go.
No, that's the top.
So when I tap this, I want to make sure you guys can hear it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, you hear that buzz?
Huh?
The buzz?
Oh, yeah.
Line level, right? So this is probably line level output to his device. So on his end, you can see levels when you
We'll get started in just a moment. Thank you for waiting. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the December 9th regular City Council Successor Agency meeting. We have a quorum. If we could begin the meeting and get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Maloney. I believe she's present on Zoom.
Present.
Vice Mayor Pearson.
Present.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Here.
Councilmember Orlemans.
Here.
Mayor Meyer.
Here, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amanda, how many cards do we have?
I have 13 speaker cards in person.
Okay. Just gonna say it after. Do you say before? I'm going to make a statement before we start public comments. We would like to thank you all for coming and speaking again tonight. We want you to know that we are listening and you are being heard, and we realize that you're looking for more information and for action. Please know that there are processes in place that must be followed, and the council is committed to seeing those through. And in the meantime, be assured that this matter is under review and that the review will continue. And I'm sorry that we can't say more than that. But we will move into public comments at this point.
Mayor, can I ask some clarifying questions? Because there is a lot of topic online, and I think there's confusion about what's going on sometimes. So, Katie, can I ask you a question? Has anyone on the council seen the body cam footage as of yet?
No.
Okay. So I think it's important for the public to understand that we are kind of in the same place they are, waiting for answers, and not shame on anyone. It's going through a process with the district attorney, and I think we are in the same holding pattern that they are at the current moment, correct? Like,
I'm going to limit myself to confirming that the council has not seen the video at this point. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Public comment time for tonight's items will be 2 minutes each. In order to ensure that all speakers feel welcome to share their views, members of the audience are kindly requested to refrain from applauding or speaking to the council from the audience without being called upon first. Amanda.
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on items that are not on the agenda, items that are listed under informational reports or on the consent calendar, requests for future agenda items, new requests, or presentations. Comments for the meeting's detailed agenda items or business items should be made when those items are called. Please limit your remarks to 2 minutes. The microphone will be muted when the timer expires. First speaker I have is Danny.
Good evening. I'm freestyling today, so I apologize in advance. There are a lot of people here tonight who don't know about how our city, or any city for that matter, runs. And so with that, I'd like to say a few things. The way our system is set up, the council is rarely brought aware of a circumstance. A lot of times, not until they either show up, or in the case of why a lot of you are here tonight, not until November 5th. I don't say that to cover. I say that because it's the truth. There are a lot of people here tonight and a lot of, believe me, I have a lot of questions as well. I'm going to start with the easy one. Why is she still here? Okay. September 26th. Okay. October 3rd. From what I understand, that's when the official district attorney looking into things came into play. November 5th is when presumably all of you found out. So either she knew and didn't tell you, or she didn't know. So she's either complicit or she's incompetent. Either way, this should not be a typical let the facts sort themselves out. We are here a month later. You're not going to hear me say anything, ask questions along those lines other than that. I know the city manager's new, but dude, you got to put your big boy pants on now, because this needs you. That's the other thing that a lot of these folks don't know. It's not their decision to fire people. It's this man. It's him. They take directions, but it's him. So please ask the question.
The next speaker is Rohan. Rohan?
All right. Good evening, council and city staff. It's good to see you guys. It's been a while since I've been up here, so I hope you all been well. I'm Owen Spitchock. For those of you who don't know, I'm the chairperson of the Youth Commission, joined by Rohan Tiagi. He's our treasurer. Haban. Sorry. Anyways, just kind of updating you on what we've been up to. So the past few months, we were in the Liberty Homecoming Parade. We also attended Hometown Halloween. That was a lot of fun. And then upcoming this weekend, we have our Craft Night Before Christmas, which we've done the past few years, a fundraiser for our scholarship fund. We have about 100 people signed up so far, so hoping for a pretty good turnout for that. I think Rohan here is going to talk about some of our upcoming events too that we're planning.
Oh yeah, so recently we established our Youth Commission essay competition, which will provide students a scholarship when they apply with a $10, it's going to be $10 application fee though. And then all proceeds will go to our Youth Commission scholarship. And then we have a career fair planned in spring, and then a STEM fair also planned in spring. And those are our new events.
Yeah, cool. And that's it from us. Good to see you guys. Have a great night.
Next speaker is Dana Eaton, followed by Becky, followed by Rudy.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City staff. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Brentwood Regional Community Chest, and in my role as co-president there. I really want to really extend our appreciation to the mayor for, Susanna, for your challenge that brought in so much food to the community chest. Also to the city staff who's put together a toy drive and worked really hard to help us out, and to the partnership that we've had with the city. The Brentwood Regional Community Chest has been around for nearly 60 years. It was started by Rose Pierce in our community. This year, we expect to serve over 400 families in our area. In addition, 125 seniors through the Brentwood Strong program. And so I just want to tell you how much it means to us to get those extra donations, because we're going to be really close. We are going to be at Brentwood Elementary on December 19th for the packing, and that starts at about 4 p.m., and that's open to anybody that wants to come. We're also going to be on December 20th at Brentwood Elementary in the morning, starting at 8 a.m. We'll be distributing probably till about noon to all those families. Every family that comes through gets a full turkey dinner with all the fixings. They get non-perishable food. Lil Pierce wanted to make sure that I told you that they get pies this year, so that's a new thing as they come through. And it's really, in my over 20 years of being involved, it's one of the best things about Brentwood. It's a community supporting itself, and I hope all of you will come out and join us and have a wonderful holiday. Thank you.
For
For those of you who don't remember or weren't paying attention the first time, I am Becky Ramirez Alcantar, the youngest child and only daughter of Yolanda. We're here yet again to speak of the injustice and mistreatment of my mom brought onto her by the Brentwood Police Department, an interaction that ultimately led to her wrongful death. Think of how scared she must have felt sitting in the back of that patrol car, knowing something was wrong as she was throwing up and eventually lost consciousness. Did she know that she would never see us again? When we made the heart-wrenching decision to take her off life support, I was faced with the impossible task of explaining to my 9-year-old twins what happened to their mama. And we now have to keep her memory alive for my 3-year-old, who won't remember spending every weekday with her mama while my husband and I were at work. What are the factual circumstances the interim chief spoke of that enabled Officer Peachman to stay on duty? If he acted accordingly, why have we not seen the dash cam or body cam footage yet? We demand that you guys, as elected officials, stand and back your community, the people who helped put you into office. Why are you not as outraged as we are that this happened in our town to a defenseless 72-year-old woman? They claim she tried to flee from what I saw from Sylvia's video and the ring camera footage tells otherwise. In Sylvia's video, we see my mom get up from the passenger side of the vehicle, walk normally past the as yet unnamed female officer around the back of the car to the driver's side. The ring footage then shows the officers grabbing her and handcuffing her, and you can hear her in the background saying, "No, I'm not." I can only assume they were telling her she was trying to flee, and she was answering that she was not. Where is the footage to back up all that they claim? My family and I are grieving, and we are pissed off, and we will not stop until we feel justice has been served. Thank you.
My name's Rudy Ramirez. My wife is the one that was killed by the Brentwood Police Department. I want to know if you guys feel that you are safer now that you killed my 72-year-old wife, mother of my kids, grandmother to my grandchildren. Is Brentwood really now that much safer? People can roam the streets now that my wife is taken away from us? For what? For an argument she had with her sister? She had a metal screen door. There's no way that my wife threatened anybody. And something must be wrong with Officer Peachman for his overreaction of what happened. The simplest thing that he could have done was say, "Hey, Mrs. Ramirez, go home, please. Please go home." And what happens? He ends up... For what? For an argument? And she didn't try to flee. It probably was not even in her mind. I've been with her for 54 years, never saw her run once. Not once. They could have given her a 45-minute head start, would have caught her at the end of the street. So what's the flee? Somebody needs to clarify that statement. The way that I saw, Officer Peachman couldn't have chased her down either. It didn't look like he ever ran either. Same way with that heavyweight woman, female officer with a man bun on top of her head. She didn't look like she was in shape either. So I could understand why they wanted to arrest her and handcuff her, because they didn't want to chase her down either. There were other policemen there. They had a lot of policemen there that could have gone and helped them if they needed help, which they didn't. She had mobility issues.
The next speakers are Francis, followed by Adam, followed by Paul.
Again, we don't want to be here, but nothing is happening. And I don't understand why Officer Peachman is out on, he should be on administrative leave. According to what we've been told, he did nothing wrong, so that's why he's out. That doesn't even make sense. And you guys haven't seen the body cam either, which should have been released a long time ago. You've had more than enough time. It is what you all need to know, and you may start recognizing our faces because we are going to be coming back again and again and again until we get the answers, till there's transparency, which there's none of. Evidently, there's no accountability. But we're going to keep coming back until we find out what happened. No one is telling us what happened. But the city attorney has said wasn't true. It can't be true. How could he follow procedure and protocol and somebody dies on his watch? That doesn't make sense. What procedure and protocols do you have that would end up like that? So again, we're going to be here. You're going to see a lot of us until something is done, till justice is done for Yolanda.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, and City staff. Today, my name is Adam Martinez. I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Brentwood. Not only am I the president of the Chamber of Commerce, I am also a business owner. I own Handy Dad's Construction here in town, and I am also a resident. I want to just take a moment and recognize Mr. Darren Gill. You did a great job. It was an honor getting to know you over the last 4 years. Your support for the business community here in Brentwood went without, it was definitely represented very well. And as businesses, to have our support from the city is very important. So thank you for that. As a Rotarian, to see you giving back to your community, I applaud that. And Mr. Duffy, I've gotten a chance to meet you, but I look forward to getting to know you better, getting to work with you. It's not going to be an easy task by any means, but whatever we could do to come together, we're here for you. We want to support you, and good luck in your new position. Thank you.
The next speaker is Paul, followed by Rich, followed by Rudy.
Good evening. You all just said the Pledge of Allegiance, and at the end it says, "and liberty and justice for all." You're hypocrites. You are not standing for justice. The city attorney is the architect of this cover-up. That incident with my sister-in-law took place 72 days ago. 72 days ago. Let me tell you, as a retired federal investigator, how we used to build cases, brick by brick, fact by fact. This city attorney, the only reason that they went out and started investigating the case, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, any of you can correct me if I'm wrong, was the day after we came to the city council. The very next morning, a van pulls up. 5 to 6 policemen and detectives get out to interview the neighbors. That's your type of investigation. And again, as I say, it's more of a cover-up. You will be horrified when you see that video. You will be ashamed of what happened to that human being. Aaron Peachman should be off duty. He had that 72-year-old elderly senior citizen and roughed her up and threw her around like a bag of potatoes. One of my famous quotes as a man of color is by James Baldwin. "I can't believe what you say because I see what you do." And right now, you have done nothing. Process, I understand. But you are being lied to, and when you see that video, fire that city attorney because she's gotten you into a bad situation.
I'm Rich Ramirez. I'm Yolanda and Rudy's oldest son. We're talking about the day after the council meeting. 6 officers in a van pulled up on Broderick Drive, knocking on doors in the rain. Some of the witnesses and the neighbors felt intimidated. That sounds like an intimidation tactic. And the Brentwood Press, Interim Chief Ogrodnik said that the 2 officers are still on active duty, Aaron Peachman and the unidentified female officer, because of the totality of factual circumstances. This makes it seem like they didn't do anything wrong, and that's BS. Because if they didn't, they would have released the video camera to prove it. So we had a second examiner for my mom, and we had preliminary findings. That examiner said there was traumatic brain injuries. And that's why you're not releasing the video camera or any kind of video camera from the neighbors and so forth. And I want to talk directly to the residents of Brentwood, especially the longtime residents that know my family. If this could happen to a 72-year-old that's never been in trouble with the law, this can happen to you. We need to hold our institutions accountable since they can't hold themselves accountable. I need you to call the city manager at 925-516-5440. Interim Chief Ogrodnik at 925-634-6911. And last, the district attorney at 925-957-2200. We want answers, we want transparency, we want accountability.
The next speakers are Frank, followed by Maria. I have just the one.
All right, how y'all doing again? I'm kind of sad. Oh, this thing is dead. I'm kind of saddened to know after the last city council meeting that none of you went out and talked to the family at all. And as someone said, procedures and policies, all that, I don't think that stops you from going to meet the family and give your condolences. I'm kind of looking at you because I know that you're their district representative. And I feel like you should be out there and working with the family. And whatever these restrictions with the active investigation, that doesn't stop you from being the advocate for your constituents and being out there with them, demanding the answers. You shouldn't just be sitting around waiting if that's what you're all doing. Have you all done anything? Demand the answers. You guys need to be with these guys demanding to see that video. Whether they tell you you can't see it yet or you can, you need to demand that you want to see it. In this time since the last meeting, you should have went and talked to the family. At least offer your condolences. You guys didn't do that. I feel like also if those 2 officers are on duty, that's like a bad moral decision. Looking back at the chief over here. They shouldn't be on the street. And if you did say about the abundance of facts or whatever that was, it sounds like you already have a decision made. The decision's made later in court, but they shouldn't be on the street. Whether you feel they were within their duty, someone has been killed, and they should be off the street right now. And I see my time's running out, I'll leave it there.
Evening. My name is Maria Dominguez. I'm an attorney. I'm the president of the California La Raza Lawyers Association and also the president of the East Bay La Raza Lawyers Association, which represents Alameda County and Contra Costa County. I'm a resident and employee of Contra Costa County for identification purposes. And I'm here to actually note that it's been 74 days since the date of the incident with the Brentwood Police Department on Broderick Drive that led to the tragic death of Mrs. Yolanda Ramirez. The community is here to ask you, the City Council, to take action. No one ends up with blunt force injuries to their face and head on their own. No one ends up with a fractured skull on their own. I don't know if this is coincidental, but if you look at your agenda packet, you are proclaiming today to be National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Please don't forget that this community funds the police and supports the police, and it's your job to have oversight of the police. You are accountable to this community and to this family. You have the power to agendize public safety matters. You have the power of the motion. You have the power of the vote. We have heard this evening and last month when we were here what you can't do. But there's a lot that you can still do. You're all very intelligent public servants. There's so many things that you can do, some of which you've heard this evening. Please have the moral courage to help bring justice to Mrs. Ramirez and this family that's missing their mother, their sister, their wife.
At this time, I have no additional speaker cards in person. However, if you are participating by Zoom, you can go ahead and raise your hand now to speak. I have one card in person. Jessica?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City staff. I'd like to share two upcoming community events hosted by Assemblymember Avila Farias: a holiday stuffing stocking event December 19th from 7 to 8, and a holiday toy drive December 20th from 1 to 3. Both are open to the public and meant to bring a little extra joy to families in our district. Details are also available on the Assembly official website. Thank you and happy holidays.
I have no additional hands, no hands raised in Zoom and no additional speakers in person.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Moving into presentations. Lindsay Pinnell, Recreation Supervisor, will present an update on the Cal AIM grant program.
4 days later.
Madam Mayor, we have concluded public comment at this time. And if members of the public would like to make public comment, we can reopen that. Otherwise, the city council needs to be able to continue doing the business of the city.
If there are comments that still need to be made, we would have to reopen public comments at this time.
You may also take a brief recess if you'd like to step away from the dais for a moment.
Would you like to make any additional comments? We're going to take a short break. Thank you.
Next 2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks. It's your fun in 2 weeks.
Moving into presentations, Lindsay Pinnell, Recreation Supervisor, will present an update on the Cal-AIM grant program.
Thank you, Mayor Meyer. Amanda, I'm ready to share my screen. Oh, good. Good evening, council members, Mayor Meyer. My name is Lindsay Pinnell, Recreation Supervisor, and tonight—
And Lindsay, forgive me, just before you start, just for the clarity of the record, council has resumed and has returned from its short break.
Yes, council is back from its break, and I believe Vice Mayor Pearson is not quite back on yet.
If we could have just a couple more minutes for recess, that would be appreciated.
We will extend the break by 2 minutes. We're having technical difficulties from one of our remote council members, so we'll hold just a moment. Councilmember Maloney, is Vice Mayor Pearson able to join you in the same room in front of your laptop?
Affirm, she can.
You all can start. Please start.
Moving back into the council meeting presentation on CalAIM. To clarify, Katie, if she can't be on camera,
Yeah, we are going to need all remote participants to remain on camera under the Brown Act. So I apologize for that requirement, but that is the mandate.
There you go. There you go. You guys see me walking around. Go ahead. You can start. Please start.
Good evening, Mayor Meyer, members of the City Council. My name is Lindsay Pinnell, Recreation Supervisor. Tonight, I also have me joining via Zoom Allison Liu, who is the Quality Manager of Quality and Health Equity for Contra Costa Health Plan. We're here tonight to provide an update on an exciting partnership opportunity with Contra Costa Health Plan to establish a CalAIM Center within our Brentwood Senior Activity Center. In the fall of 2004, the Brentwood Senior Activity Center was nominated by the Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors as a leading organization serving low-income residents. By becoming a CalAIM Center, the City of Brentwood would play a key role in supporting this county-wide initiative to enhance community education and strengthen the connection between CCHP and our residents, particularly our senior community. Allison is going to tell us more about how what CalAIM is and how CCHP is supporting CalAIM centers. Allison, are you there?
Thank you, Lindsay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Allison Liu. I'm one of the quality manager with Quality and Health Equity Department within Contra Costa Health Plan. Thank you for having us here tonight. So what is CalAIM? CalAIM stands for California Advancing and Innovating Medi-Cal. This is a state initiative to improve and innovate Medi-Cal services to provide well-rounded care that goes beyond the doctor's office. Basically, we're providing more services than just medical care. The end goal is to provide a better quality of life for our members and for better health outcome. And here's some of the example of services that we provide as CalAIM services. So first one is enhanced care management. So this is multiple levels of different case management that can provide it to member who has the need or meets the criteria of the services. They will be assigned for a case manager and then looking for do a full review on their needs, either it's medical or social needs, and link them to the resources and services that they require to keep them healthy. And medical tailored meals is one of the benefits that can be provided under CalAIM. These are meals provided to members according to their medical needs, such as diabetes and heart failure and other chronic health diseases. And housing support is one of the benefits that member can get through CalAIM. This includes navigating through the housing system and looking for some short-term housing for member that's experiencing homelessness, or even do some rental assistance for the members that meet certain criteria. Also, we have asthma remediation. So this could include the things that member can do to their house to improve their asthma condition, or some classes so they can learn more on how to manage their asthma conditions. This is just a short list of the services and benefits we provide through CalAIM services. You can find more information either on our website or UHC's website. And how we would like to partner with the Brentwood Senior Center as a CalAIM centers. So we will have a team of health educators. We will work with CalAIM centers to offer preventative health classes and resources on chronic health conditions for members who is utilizing these Brentwood Senior Centers, and we can also customize and help CAM centers enhance their current curriculum, participate in the current curriculum or any activities that's going on with the Brentwood Senior Center. We usually work with each CAM center to customize what we offer at each center to make sure we tailor to the community members to the needs that they would like to get and the systems they would like to get through us. And we will help identify gaps in the care of these members and help them navigate CCHP and further educate the members and link them to the service and resources that they need. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Allison. Continuing on, the launch of CalAIM centers in Contra Costa County. This started in 2025, and as I said, the Brentwood Community Senior Center was selected as one of the first CalAIM centers in District 3 based on recommendations from county supervisors. The community-based organizations listed on the screen are not part of a city or a municipality except for the City of Brentwood and the City of Oakley. They're independent organizations that were nominated by the Board of Supervisors to serve as CalAIM centers. And since early 2025, the ones that have started, the first 4 that are in working is Discovery Counseling Center in Danville, Monument Impact in Concord, Opportunity Junction in Antioch, and the Rise Center in Richmond. So once the CalAIM Center at BSAC is operational, the City of Brentwood will be the first and only municipality in Contra Costa County participating in this program. A little bit about the funding. Contra Costa County Health Plan recognizes the daily impact that cities and communities, organizations have on Medi-Cal members through social services. So as part of this effort, CCHP is awarding $80,000 over a 2-year agreement to establish a CalAIM center within our organization. The funding will be distributed in 2 annual installments of $40,000 and will be used exclusively for supplies and programming costs at the Brentwood Senior Activity Center to help us, such as help us funding enhancing existing educational programs, expand our preventative health and wellness initiatives, support new programs that address the community needs, expand staff workspaces and programmatic supplies. And a few things that have come up recently is some funding has been cut with the county, and so some of this money can offset the cost for the cut of the bus tickets that some of our seniors were using, and a cap is going to be put on our Cafe Costa. And so in order to reach and serve all of our residents, we will be able to use some of this money to buy more meals to serve more of our seniors. And then lastly, any extra money will be used to offset general fund and expenditures for our senior programming. And then a little bit about the reporting and valuation. It's very simple. We will work together with the county to track and document how all the funds are used. There's going to be semi-annual reports. Initially, it was going to be December and June, but those dates may fluctuate depending on when we get our program launched. We'll outline program activities, expenditures, and community outcomes. And once the agreement is in place, the county would like to hold a kickoff and implementation meeting, but led by city staff, to officially launch the CalAIM Center at BSAC. Next steps. We're actively working with the county on finalizing the terms of the agreement with the intent to move forward and create an implementation schedule to launch the program. And that completes my presentation, and myself and Allison can answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Any questions? Any questions from either one of you online? Okay. Thank you very much, Lindsay. Moving into presentation D2, Vatsal Patel, Engineer Manager, will present an update on the pavement management program.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Vatsal Patel, Engineering Manager. I'm here to present on our, provide an update on our pavement management program. So I would like to start off with what is the pavement management program. The purpose of the PMP is to maintain and improve the condition of local streets and sidewalks in the most cost-effective way. The purpose, Brentwood currently has 2 annual projects as part of the PMP. The first being PMP concrete and the second being PMP asphalt. The table here shows the total funding for this current fiscal year and upcoming fiscal years of the amount of funding that we will receive from the RMRA and the general fund totaling over the next 5 years now. These are subject to change based on the state funding that will be provided through the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Program, which is RMRA, which in turn impacts the general funds that are contributed. We have steadily increased the total funding for the projects and will continue to do so. Like I said, over the last 5 years, including this current fiscal year, we've also made efforts to increase the amounts for each type of treatment that, excuse me, that include light, medium, and heavy within our annual projects, and I will be covering that shortly here. This helps balance the streets as well as the selection of streets and the treatments as well. Starting off with our, of the 2 projects, PMP Concrete, which has an annual budget of $300,000, the objective is to remove tripping hazards and replace sidewalk throughout the city. The repair locations are identified by customer complaints and staff inspections. The selection of repairs are also based on several other factors, including safety, cost, effectiveness, and available funding. Currently, our Public Works Department does a good job of maintaining an active list, which is constantly updated as needed. I'm sorry, I have to go back. Oh no. Of course I missed it. Well, I was gonna say, staff seeks to supplement the available funding through grants whenever feasible, such as the Transportation Development Act grant, which allows for transportation projects for pedestrian and bicycle safety. Staff's applied for these grants in the past and has been successful. We will be actually submitting the next round of application here shortly. The other project that I'd want to mention is the annual PMP asphalt, which rehabilitates the city streets throughout various treatment methods. The city gets assistance through the Metropolitan Transportation Commission and their Pavement Management Technical Assistance Program to get that guidance. The table here is a portion of that report that the PTAP does for us, which is it identifies the city street segments, their characteristics such as the beginning and the end, the number of lanes, the surface type, the area, and the pavement condition index when the pavement condition index was calculated, which has a standardized rating between 100 and 0. Now, what is the pavement condition index, you ask? The PCI is one of the factors when determining the selection of streets and the condition of the street. The image shows the conditions of a street throughout the decline in the PCI. You can see from the top right left-hand corner, which is the PCI of 85, which is a brand new street, or roughly a brand new street, to down to the bottom right-hand corner, which is a PCI of 20, which is a failing street. In 2021, the city's overall PCI was 82, which has steadily declined to 78. In comparison, the countywide average in 2024 was 68. The decrease in PCI can be attributed to several factors, one being the available funding. In 2023, it was estimated that we would need roughly $6.5 million per year in order to maintain or raise our PCI to 80, and $9.5 million per year to raise it to 83. However, in 2025, these estimates are certainly going to be higher. As our current budget is approximately $2.5 million per fiscal year, the PMP, our current budget is approximately $2.5 million per year. Depending on the PCI, there are several primary strategies or treatments that can be implemented. The table here shows the primary strategy and associated costs for maintenance of different PCIs, which we will go over in depth in the following slides. But the best way to describe it is as a report card. The lower the grade, the more effort you have to put in to raise it. The first strategy is preventive maintenance. This includes crack seal and slurry seal. In addition to in addition to the project, the Streets Division also performs crack sealing on an annual basis throughout the city where feasible. The main purpose of preventative maintenance is to prevent water and debris from entering the cracks of the asphalt. And although it does not add structural value, it does slow down the deterioration of the street. Think of it as if you were getting your teeth cleaned and to prevent cavities. The selection of streets is based on time elapsed since the last slurry seal, overall condition, and available funding. Typically, streets under a PCI of 70 aren't slurried as it requires additional treatment, medium or heavy treatment. The engineering department maintains an active list of streets that were slurried last and continues to update that as needed. The second strategy is light rehabilitation, and that's for PCIs between 55 to 70. This is when you grind the asphalt down 2 to 3 inches and replace it with new asphalt. It's almost like getting a cavity filled. There's a little wear and tear that needs to be fixed, but the foundation is still strong. The selection of streets for light rehabilitation are based on several factors: PCI, the level of use, cost effectiveness, and available funding. The Engineering and Public Works Department consistently inspect and evaluate these locations on site. Typical streets like Sand Creek Road are selected because they provide the most benefit for residents and tend to deteriorate faster. The third strategy is structural rehabilitation, or what we call dig outs. This is when you grind the asphalt down to the base, approximately 4 to 6 inches, and replace it with new asphalt. Similar to that would be getting a dental crown. There is a substantial wear and tear that a more durable solution is required. The locations are typically identified by customer complaints and staff inspections. Public Works Department maintains an active list of dig outs and continues to repair those as needed. The last strategy we have is, where did my last strategy go? Reconstruction. Reconstruction is for PCIs between 0 and 40. This is when you have to remove everything and reconstruct the road as rehabilitation isn't sufficient. Think of it as getting a tooth extracted and replacing it with an implant. Brentwood has been fortunate to not have many streets that need reconstruction, but there are some like Parkway and Helen Myers Way, which have standalone projects that achieve reconstruction. If residents want to know more about their streets PCI, report a tripping hazard or damaged pavement, they can contact either the Public Works Department or engineering departments, which are listed here, and we can certainly share that. It's on our website, so anyone that wants to find that information, it's definitely available on our website. And that concludes my presentation, and staff is available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. While we have great streets, like if I go back, I don't know if you saw the chart I sent Harold, but like I went all the way back to 2012 to look at the conditions, and we started off at like an 87. We were the #1 city in roads, and we were like in the top section. Now we keep moving down every year. And I know, and I can't remember what budget season it was, but I think we upped by $1 million the spend or something like that on roads. So can we get a memo with just the historical spend and what we think we can do to improve it? Because it's gone from an 87 to a 78, and it just seems really drastic, especially with the incremental $1 million that we spent. Also, I'd be curious, how much do we do in-house and how much do we outsource? And what are the pros and cons of both? Is there any way to improve the condition if we were to adjust any of that?
Certainly, we can definitely get the memo, but to answer your question, we are adding additional streets so that as the network grows, the PCI does get adjusted to that affects that. It also depends on several factors. As I mentioned earlier, while we agree that the PCI is within a certain range, that's calculated based on an algorithm and site inspections. As we get into construction, things obviously change. More additional treatment is needed, or treatments change based on the condition as we dig or remove some of the existing asphalt. So those costs then get allocated because we can't leave those untreated. So then that's where some of the funding gets reallocated, and then we come back at a later time to do that. But it's a domino effect. As we do more, certainly other streets see further deterioration.
And then also, I recall like a road like Fairview. Remember they did all of that work on Fairview? And then when the vendor did all the work, I think it was PG&E if I'm not mistaken, when they left, it was horrible. So how do we work with these vendors that come in and do this work and then leave? How do we make sure that it still looks like because Fairview used to be really nice, not bumpy at all. And if you drive down it now, it's super bumpy. And we know it's that work that they did that was PG&E. So how can we hold vendors? And I'm actually afraid of what's going to happen to San Jose, because I can tell it's not going to be the same as before the Bridal Gate project started. I'm hoping they leave it better, because right now I'm not happy with the way the vendor left it right now.
So to answer your last part first, we do have conditions of approval that are set on developers as they complete their projects. They're required to restore the asphalt to the new condition. So those are conditions that are written within the project as it gets approved. As far as utility improvements that are done by outside agencies like PG&E, we do have standards that we require them to do restoration. However, that is somewhat limited because their area impact is very minimal compared to the entire roadway. So it is difficult for us to hold them accountable for that. We do the best we can with making sure that they go to a certain portion of it.
So we can't hold them sorry, I don't mean to stop you, but we can't hold them accountable for the part that they specifically impacted?
No, we can. No, that we can.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like if you go down Fairview and you see the work that they did, like it's, I mean, we've talked about it in our neighborhood. They left it so bad. So I know that impacts our score, because it's a major street. And I'm not sure, and then, I mean, we don't know, did the product they use, was it as good as the product that was originally there, and all of that?
So are we talking strictly about Fairview?
Just Fairview, and just how do we hold agencies that come in, or, developers that come in, or anyone that comes in and has to do underground work and tears up our street when they leave? How are we holding them accountable? Because it doesn't seem like Fairview that was done to what I would have liked to have seen it just as a resident. And I'm hoping that what we see at the backside of Bridal Gate looks better when they're done than what they're doing now. I'm hoping it's just, they're going to come back and fix what they did.
Thank you for that. We'll definitely take a look at Fairview. As Basil mentioned, we issue encroachment permits to the utility companies. As part of that, they are responsible for restoring the street when they're done. So we'll take a look at the conditions and kind of verify that they've restored it to where it should be. But generally speaking, yes, when utilities trench in our streets, first of all, when they come in after a PMP, there's like a moratorium that they're not supposed to be coming in at to do work unless it's emergency related. And if they were to break the moratorium, they're supposed to do even more restoration. So we'll definitely take a look, Councilmember Mendoza, and see what's going on there.
Yeah. And it's just more of a process than, I mean, I know what it looks like now. It's just like in the future, let's just make sure we hold them accountable for what they do, what their impact is, kind of thing.
Ask a question a little bit earlier about maintenance and what our in-house crews we're doing on a daily basis. So currently we have a concrete crew and an asphalt crew. So they're doing concrete every day as well as asphalt, whether they're doing utility patches or fairly large patches throughout the city, and crack sealing. They're either doing paving or crack sealing each day. However, we work together with the engineering on a daily basis, and when we're out in the field and we see something that's quite large, that's probably outside our scope, we immediately start planning for that repair, and we meet on site. I work with Vatzel and inspectors and Brant and staff to come up with a good plan that's going to resolve the issue and not continue it further down the road. So.
Great, thank you.
So to clarify, are you saying that everything is done in-house, or there are projects that would have to go outside?
We patch pave in-house currently. However, when it comes to large pavement jobs where we need a paver and a grinder to do some rehabilitations, we will work with outside contractors to do those projects, because currently we're not able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
If I can jump in, we take care of anything that is immediate or urgent, potholes, anything like that, we take care of those right away. It's the larger projects that our crews aren't really set up for. We don't have the large expensive equipment that the paving companies do. So if there's a large section of road, we'll typically plan for that in the PMP. But if there's a small section that's bad, that we have the capacity to do in-house, and we don't wait on those. When we get customer complaints, we'll go out and take care of those.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Moving into informationals. This portion of the agenda is to provide an opportunity for council members to report on attendance at events, subcommittee meetings, and entities on which the council member has been appointed as liaison, and for staff to provide brief updates and/or information to the city council. And we will start with Councilmember Orlemans.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight and for the public comments. It's been a while since we've done a report out, so I'm not going to go down the whole list of everything that we've done since September 23rd, but I am going to hit a couple highlights. Easier for me to go in reverse, so we're going to talk about just a couple nights ago. PAL had their Tamale Fest, amazing event, which goes towards funding Shop with a Cop. Great event, over 200 people over in the city center. Raised a little over $8,000 for Shop with a Cop, which is going to take place next Saturday out at Target. So great event, a lot of fun, but also did what it was supposed to do, which was raise money for the Shop with a Cop. Historically, for the past 3 or 4 years, my wife and I have hosted a Thanksgiving breakfast for first responders that are on duty here within the city of Brentwood. We did it again this year. We were setting everything up. Great event. Had all the on-duty police officers and paramedics showed up. Fire got distracted with work and wasn't able to make it. But the one thing I wanted to talk about at the event was, while we were all running around taking care of all of this, my 2 grandkids, Lisi 6 and Chente 2, heard the garbage truck coming down the street. So the big deal, I don't know, they got all excited. We went running out the door to go watch the garbage truck. He stopped right in front of our driveway, jumped out of the garbage truck, and each one of them got a little matchbox size garbage truck. I've got policemen showing up in police cars. I've got uniformed police officers. They didn't care. They got their garbage trucks and they were playing on the ground with it. But it was a great interaction of my family with the employees of the city of Brentwood and keeping that interaction going. I guarantee you that the citizens of Brentwood appreciate the employees that were out there on Thanksgiving morning. I offered the garbage truck driver breakfast and coffee, but he was covering another shift because somebody didn't make it in and he had an extra part of the route to deal with, so he had to take off. But that's the interaction we expect from our city employees, and I appreciate it, and please pass that information on to everybody that was working on Thanksgiving morning. I did also attend the swearing in of 2 new Brentwood police officers. I think it was the end of last month, but Officer Tidwell and Beltran had graduated from the academy and were sworn in as brand new police officers. And I think that's about it. I did attend the Christmas parade, amazing event, and the tree lighting. We had a great time. the parade was great, and it was really nice having the entire council on one float, one event, one truck, and all of us being together with the city manager and interacting with the citizens. We had a great time, and the tree lighting was even better with all the Christmas carols and everything else we did. And there's a ton of other events, and I apologize, but the list just keeps on going. So thank you.
Amanda, I'd like to recommend that we each give a few highlights, and then can we send lists to you just to be added to the minutes? I think we've done that before.
I would love that, yes.
Okay. Councilmember Mendoza?
Hi, everyone. Since the last time we've met, I can't ignore the public comments that came in tonight, and I want the public to know that we are listening to everyone. And while it seems like we are not doing anything, we are listening and we're doing everything we can. And I wish I could say more. I wish I could do more at this moment. But, you know, we have a process that we are being told that has to be followed. So we are doing what we can do right now. I had a city employee one time, not here anymore, tell me that they wish I would be less of an activist and more of a council person. I'm an activist and I feel what everyone out there is saying. So I do not mind you showing up. I encourage you to show up each and every time because we have to be our own best advocates. So while you might not see me on that side, please know that I do advocate for all of you out there. Okay. On to the events. Yes, so our tree lighting and our parade was fantastic. Tony mentioned it. I do like the solidarity of us all being together. We are one council, and I think we get along pretty well, and I enjoy their company. So we are with them, you know, and Patinish and Faye out in Germany. I enjoy being with you guys too. We had the tree lighting at the streets also, so we're lucky as a city to have two tree lightings. Just Working Wonders fundraiser. They're a great organization that help a lot of the young adults in our area, and then dropped off some stuff to the food drive. So thank you, Mayor Meyer and Mayor Shaw from Oakley for putting that together. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Pearson?
Good afternoon, everyone. I have to echo the sentiment of Council Member Mendoza. It is very hard and it feels insensitive to talk about what I've been doing over the last few weeks when I know there are people who are grieving the loss of their mother. So absolutely appreciate everyone's attendance tonight. And the last things that I've done since our last meeting was attended 2 turkey drives, one with Assemblymember Avila Farias, where I'm happy to report that she, with the assistance of 2 council members in Concord, fed 500 families fully cooked meals from Mimi's Cafe throughout the district. I also joined with the Rock Church, in which they fed 200 people in our district. Attended the soft launch of the Oakley on Ice, met up and saw Mayor Shannon Shaw in Oakley. Looks really nice there. I attended the Streets of Brentwood tree lighting. In my role with Assemblymember Avila Farias, the Green Empowerment Zone meeting, which I'm also there for Brentwood, but was there in that role with the Assemblymember Avila Farias, but learned a lot of information that could be useful for our city as well. The Chamber of Commerce Holiday Parade, the annual Christmas tree lighting, the Military Veterans Banner Program ceremony, and I am here scoping out Christmas markets for one of our agendas. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And Councilmember Maloney?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for everyone that had come and given their public comments. Again, I would have to say that we're committed to professionalism, transparency, and accountability, and we hear you. So just, again, I'll echo the same sentiments and as everybody on the dais. Since the last, oh God, there's so many things to list, but I'll highlight some. Since November, I've met with our superintendent, Denise Dragani, to discuss the final workings of the Youth Summit. I also prepared a 17 to 18 page document outlining an example of a social ordinance, and I provided it to our city staff. I also co-authored a communication policy with Vice Mayor Pearson. I also been keeping in contact with our Highland Alder Creek community regarding the nuisances, and I'm very happy to say that our first ad hoc committee meeting will be this coming week. I also visited some of the streets of Brentwood businesses, as well as some of our businesses off of Lone Tree. I met with Brentwood PD staff to discuss the social nuisance ordinance, as well as the vagrancy issues occurring in multiple areas. I also spoke to staff from Supervisor Burgess's office regarding Fire Station 90 to provide our neighborhood concerns and requests for the upcoming fire station and the youth center that's going to be going off Windy Springs and Lone Tree. After that, I spoke to Fire Chief McAllister, and I thanked him for engaging the community, and I also requested if they could come and hold that presentation in front of all of us on the dais, so that way everybody is aware of, you know, what's coming to our city. Our community was very thankful of that presentation, so it would be awesome to just get everybody on the same page of information. And I also met with Supervisor Burgess and her staff regarding the East County Service Center, along with Vice Mayor Pearson. I'm appreciative of the ongoing dialogue and collaboration that's being brought forward, and our city manager was on that meeting as well. I've also met and been communicating with PG&E staff, specifically the governmental affairs representative BL Moores, regarding some of our projects and that require PG&E work. And I'm also very appreciative to the Seroptimus Club. They had me as a keynote speaker for the S Club, which is a club that's a high school S Club for Seroptimus that has young ladies coming on to learn about the different charities and goals and leadership that Seroptimus brings onto our community. And the holiday parade was amazing. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and everyone from the city that made that event be beautiful. And after that, we attended the tree lighting. And again, I'd echo the sentiment of my colleagues. It was a really great event. And I really want to thank, if I haven't done it already, a huge thank you to our engineering department, our city staff, for installing the lighted stop signs at Amber and Empire. Thank you so, so much. And I also spoke with some downtown Brentwood businesses regarding some of the concerns that they've had for the lack of foot traffic downtown, and which inspired more communication with Parks and Recreation Director Harith Aleem regarding collaboration with our nonprofits, maybe to increase family foot traffic in our downtown area. I'm sure the cold weather hasn't been helping, but would love to see our downtown family, or our Brentwood families downtown. So thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you. And again, I'm going to try and shorten it. Got a lot too. I have to agree with the parade and the tree lighting. Really great community event. I thought this year was stronger than ever. The crowds came out. It was cold, but people stood it through the end. And I also agree that I like for us to be united and together for that. I feel like that's a really good feeling for all of us. I attended the Healthcare Literacy Council launch at Kaiser, which is basically it's a pilot program to help people understand what their healthcare options are and their rights are as far as that goes. The Aging and Disabilities Committee meeting, Vice Mayor Pearson was on that one as well. And I'm mentioning it because we, our staff, our city staff and our committee and council approved this as well. We got an adaptive recreation program staff person, which is going to dramatically change the way we are able to offer adaptive programming. And it's a huge win. It felt very good for the vice mayor and myself, and for staff and for everyone there to just witness what this was going to look like as it rolls out. let's see, I attended a Contra Costa Health webinar on Behavioral Health Services Act and a new planning process around this. I'll bring it up, it was interesting because the service delivery model for mental health versus behavioral health services is going to change dramatically in the new year, and it's going to be a lot more accountable, which I think is a really good thing. I think part of this is being tied to homelessness and the billions of dollars that have been thrown at homelessness without a lot in return. And so this is going to involve a lot of city, a lot of nonprofit work, a lot of county work, but it's all going to be tied to the penny and accountable to the penny. And so this work that's going to be coming forward, it's going to look a little bit different. And I have hope it's going to be really strong. It's really going to support the people who need it. I'm going to skip everything else. I think it just actually attended a accessible transportation town hall today by Assemblymember Lori Wilson. She was speaking to people, specifically East County, about what their transportation needs were. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, I attended the Delta 6 meeting, which is a regional planning meeting that is the 4 East County mayors, the 2 East County supervisors, and the city managers. And so Darren was there and also Harold. In that meeting, the discussion came up, and this was in November, this whole thing happened very quickly. The discussion came about the idea of a food drive to try and lift spirits for one. There's a lot of people online talking about needing help, and there was a lot of people online talking about wanting to help and not being sure how to do that. So I challenged the other East County mayors to a food drive. I'd like to bring this back again next year. Next year we'll go through the proper process. It'll have a longer planning period. It'll come to council for approval, and we'll see where we can go from here. But it was a huge success, and Dana Eaton, the superintendent for Brentwood Elementary School District, came and spoke about that. And I heard from Lil Pierce from the Brentwood Regional Community Chest, who is the recipient of our food drive. And last year they served 365 families. So far this year, 500 families have come forward asking for assistance, and the final registration day is tomorrow. If there are families out there that are still looking for assistance, they can go to the senior center tomorrow, Wednesday, from 2 to 3 to register for food and toy distribution. I want to give a shout out to the DBC. Kristen Mingus was really active in trying to involve a lot of businesses. Gleam, Boondoggies, Olive Place, Soiree Love, Zephyr, Stone and Bloom. Several others wanted to take part, and we ran out of time. It was a kind of a quick turnaround. Gursky Ranch was a site for drop-off. The Brentwood Lions did a huge collection. Isaac Montania's Elementary did a video where they created a cereal box domino line just to kind of boost interest in the whole process. Grocery Outlet was involved. Again, I do feel it was a really big success. Mayor Shaw and I met today and decided to actually declare it a tie. There are a lot of people that are going to be upset about that. There was a lot of competition involved with this, but in the end, it was really close. If you compare the pictures and the video, we were able to collect, I can't even fathom how much we collected, but thank you so much to everyone who volunteered, who donated anything at all, who shared social media posts, who were a host site. This was a really good event. It is, in closing, I have to say, I came into this meeting feeling like I was going to share about that and feel really good about it, and I do still feel good about it. But it is incredibly, incredibly hard to listen to people who lost a family member over the holidays and just sit here with a straight face and try to not react, because we're trying to be very careful about what we express, what we say, anything that our expressions could mean. Or it's a challenge. It's and I feel for them. We're following all of our protocols and policies, and of course the DA is involved at this point, and we have to follow the process. And council did not know until after the news media broke the story. It was mentioned that we haven't seen the video, we haven't heard the 911 call, and we're in the background at this point, meeting a lot, talking a lot, trying to figure out where we go from here to make sure that answers are given to the family as soon as they can be. So please know that this is not, we're not just sitting here and thinking this is fine. We know there's a lot going on and answers need to come forward. We're going to move into the consent calendar.
I would like to pull F7 for some questions.
Okay. And then we will do the proclamation for item F1 after your questions and the vote.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to add a proclamation to one of our lists. How do I go about that process?
I believe that's a separate agenda item later on.
Proclamations are part of the consent calendar, and it can be, if she'd like to add that now, then you would just include that in your motion with the consent calendar when you do take that motion.
But is this one for this month, or is this one for just the year in general? I'm sorry, I'm
The
confused.
proclamation list for 2026 is a part of the consent calendar.
Okay.
There's also a copy at the dais for you as well for
Right.
any quick review if you'd like. So if
Okay.
So
So
would
after Councilmember Mendoza has her questions answered, then
Do you want to pull F5, Faye?
Yes, please,
Okay.
if that's the proclamation. one.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So CFDs. I have a question about, I know CFDs are based on house, individual units. Here's my problem with that happening. If we go back to Measure L, there was, I think it was zoned for like 400 and something houses. And when the developer increased it to 2,400 houses, the fire department and the police union were very quick to support it because of their CFD financial impact to their coffers. And I don't know how to take away the influence of money from the fire union and the police association so that they don't have an opinion for increased density, which is how I saw it. I felt like they wanted increased density because they would get more money. Because this happened we approved CFDs for fire in 2021, I think, something like that. So is there a mechanism where you can have a flat CFD for a parcel instead of it being by units in order to disincentivize people from fighting for higher density from an outside perspective? The developer is going to do what they want to do, but from something like the fire department, which gets a lot of money per CFD, and it encourages them to actually fight for higher density, how do we combat that? Is there a way to do one by acreage instead of by parcel? And sorry, this is new because we just started our CFDs in 2020. Or do we get rid of them altogether if they're going to keep fighting for higher density? I don't know.
So just a clarification, are you looking at just the fire CFD portion? Because you mentioned the police as well. So
Well, I mean, I think we need to have a conversation with the police association as well because they came in really pro Measure L as well. And it's all, you can go read it all on their Facebook page.
So I think this will go a little bit off topic. Certainly, we'd have to do some research on this, but the kind of the nexus with the CFDs is it's meant to offset the impacts of the development, and so therefore, what we do is we have, as we're building more units, we're bringing in more revenue to fund the services that are required. And so if we had like an amount on a acreage, it wouldn't be recognizing the impact that acreage might have. Whereas if there was a lot of development, we would get more money. And I understand your concern on that, but that's the mechanism that was set up so that we were tying the impact on services to the revenue that was being collected. That's sort of the process that went in place. And so we've had the CFDs in Brentwood since about 2002 or so.
Well, that's the police ones. The fire ones, didn't we do that in 2020, 2021?
Yes.
We didn't have fire ones. And it seems like the relationship between fire in our city and individuals who fight high density, myself, have really changed since then. So if someone like fire is going to use this as political bargaining chips and to push forward candidates that fight for higher density, I'm not happy with the CFD. Right? Like, I'm happy that it covers the spend, but now the city doesn't even pay for East Contra Costa County Fire anymore, right? It's Contra Costa.
Correct.
So I think it's something we need to talk about. If they're going to want to play this political game, can we take the maximum number of units that go into a parcel, base a flat CFD, and therefore, hopefully, their incentive would be to actually advocate for the density that is already zoned?
So we definitely can't speak for the fire side. So they are responsible for the collection of that. They're the ones who have established how they're collecting, what they're doing with the money. So we don't process that. We only process on the city side. It was a little bit different when we were helping to fund the fire district. And part of that was their station closure. I mean, there's a long history of that. So I don't know that we have a lot of say-so in how that was, I would say that was probably went into their calculation of could they do the merger? Don't know. That was
Yeah.
on their side. On the city side, we already have CFDs in place. If the council wanted to look at another mechanism, it would be a process. It would be lengthy. It's not
Okay,
something we
but
could.
it's something we could explore if we continue to see this happening.
So yeah, I believe the city council could, yes, certainly the city council could look at that, but again, it's going to require studies and it's not something we just adjust on the fly.
Okay, I think Harold and Katie.
For the record, Gerald Duffy, city manager. I think one of the things we have to always remember is that there's usually a nexus for the cost for these different programs. So if you're in the county or in corporation, you're going to be doing a municipal service review, and what that will determine what the overall cost would be for that, and then you set your fee based on that. So certainly, if you're looking at density, and density doesn't necessarily equal more money. Normally, when you have density, you can reduce your incremental cost, but still have a amount of money. So certainly, if you're looking at this process, you can certainly do an examination by doing a municipal study review to determine what would be the true cost needed for that. And so if you do that, you could possibly find a mechanism to be able to limit the overall cost per acre as you're trying to indicate. Certainly, it's worth having a study done to look at that.
I just would like to remove the noise of people being pro high density and building more and more and more because they get more and more money, right? Like, I mean, it is per unit. So we know that our residents don't want high density. We know they want to stick to the plan. So what levers can we pull that encourage that?
So just real quickly, CFDs are governed by the California Government Code. So we follow the process. We have to follow the process that's laid out in the Government Code. But if that's something you'd like more information on, we can certainly provide that.
Yeah, I think just exploring it and seeing what we can do might be helpful to discourage people getting involved in upzoning our town that don't even live in our town.
So this particular agenda item is a wee bit narrower, so I'm going to bring us back to this, but I think we've heard your concern.
Does this need to be a future agenda item later in the agenda, or is this something you can just come back with?
If this is something that the entire council would like to see, that would be an appropriate way to do it. That would be a fast way to do it.
Councilmember Maloney?
I don't mind hearing it later on.
No, I mean, sorry about the proclamation that you wanted to add.
Oh, got it. I thought we were still talking about that. To add international surrogacy, and it's actually to December 10th.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You broke up.
And just add it, the future proclamation for next International Surreptitious Day.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, did we not have that one on there? I thought we did at one point. I actually have a couple
I didn't see
of,
it on the list.
okay. I had a couple of points on that one too. And I would really, if we can establish some sort of a practice around letting council know once someone has been, a recipient has been chosen for each proclamation. And so that if we know if it's a big one, maybe we need to go find someone, or we should not, duplicate, maybe look at it another year. And then of course the priority of recipients being Brentwood residents or business owners. And then I've mentioned this before, I want to make sure that I'm notified when my signature is being electronically added to a certificate. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, did you say that that's a priority but not a requirement, right? That they be a Brentwood resident?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other comments on any consent items? Okay, do we have a vote?
I'll make a motion to approve
Thank you.
What?
I said motion.
Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
No. I said vote, and you, yeah.
Oh.
I meant to say motion. Thank you.
So motion to adopt the consent calendar?
Second.
Does that include with the revisions that were discussed here this evening,
Yes,
including
with
the
the
addition?
revisions
Thank
to
you.
the proclamations list and guidelines.
And could we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Maloney?
I think she's frozen.
Apologies, I think you might be. Thank you. Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and the the motion passes. Moving into item F1, the proclamation for National Friends of the Libraries Week. Do we have recipients here? If you'd like to meet me at the podium. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I apologize for having to delay this last month. You ready? Whereas libraries are cornerstones of strong communities, providing opportunities for learning, connection, and enrichment for residents of all ages and backgrounds. And whereas the Friends of the Brentwood Library devote countless volunteer hours to supporting library programs, promoting literacy, and ensuring access to resources that inspire discovery and lifelong learning. And whereas their fundraising efforts and advocacy strengthen the library's ability to serve the community through expanded programming, improved facilities, and enhanced collections. And whereas National Friends of Libraries Week offers an opportunity to recognize the dedication and generosity of these volunteers who make a lasting difference in the lives of Brentwood residents. And whereas the City Council of the City of Brentwood wishes to express its gratitude and celebrate the Friends of the Brentwood Library for their commitment to fostering a more informed, connected, and inspired community. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Brentwood does hereby recognize October 19th through the 25th, 2025, as National Friends of Libraries Week, and encourages all residents to join in celebrating the invaluable contributions of the Friends of the Brentwood Library. Dated this 9th day of December, 2025. Thank you. Would someone like to speak? Would someone like to speak?
Oh, well, thank you very much. Really appreciate what you contributing, your continued support for the library. That's really important to us. You will show real leadership in supporting our organization as well as the library. And we really think that's a great thing. People need to read.
People need to read, very true. This is your proclamation, and we thank you for coming tonight. Did you want a picture or anything?
Yeah, can we get a picture?
It's upside down. Moving into public hearings, item G1, Alexis Morris, Director of Community Development, will present the next item regarding an ordinance amending Title 15 of the Brentwood Municipal Code related to building and construction. Actually, before you start, Harold, can you confirm, do we need to move the audit? I know it's on Oakley's calendar tonight too. Do we know if we're in line with?
I think the auditor's here now, so we're fine.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was virtual. Okay.
It would be convenient for the auditor if we could pull
Move
it
that one
prior
first.
to the public hearing, but.
We can do that.
Sure.
Okay, bear with me to find the agenda item and introduce that. Alexis, we'll call you up in just a little bit.
H4.
H4, thank you. Moving into H4, this is a business item, independent auditors reports Sonia Agostini, Accounting Manager, will introduce the 2024-25 Annual Comprehensive Report and Independent Auditor's Report with Amy Meyer of Mays and Associates.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, we are presenting you with our fiscal year 2024-25 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or ACFR, along with the results of the city's annual financial audit. Shortly, I will turn the presentation over to Amy Meyer with Mays & Associates to present the audit report. But first, I will provide a brief overview of the prior year's financial results. For the year ended June 30, 2025, the city's general fund reported positive financial results, with revenues exceeding expenditures and reserve requirements by $1.3 million. Contributing to this surplus was $1.1 million in one-time investment gains. Therefore, operationally, the general fund was slightly positive after setting aside the required reserves. On the expenditure side, savings from personnel vacancies were largely responsible for costs coming in lower than budget. The year-end surplus of $1.3 million was transferred to the Budget Stabilization Fund. Per City Council policy, half of any annual surplus is used to pay down unfunded pension liabilities, and as a result, approximately $657,000 will be used for a pension paydown. At the end of the year, the Budget Stabilization Fund had a balance of about $16.3 million. Over the next several months, the city will be putting a large portion of this fund to work with an $8 million contribution to our new Section 115 trust, as well as an additional $2.1 million in pension paydowns. This fund will continue to pay down unfunded obligations and provide a funding source to offset future pension and retiree medical cost increases coming in the next several years. At year end, the general fund unassigned reserve was $24.1 million, or equal to 30% of annual budgeted operating expenditures as required by City Council policy. I would also like to note the Finance Department produces an annual financial snapshot, which summarizes the fiscal year's financial results and any major financial trends in a simple, user-friendly format. That snapshot was released in October and is linked in the agenda item tonight and can be found on the city's website. While the focus of this agenda item tonight is the financial results of the prior fiscal year, staff will provide more current financial information at the mid-year budget update next month. Tonight, we are also pleased to present you with the annual financial awards that were received by the city over the past 12 months. These include the Excellence in Capital Budgeting for the 2024-25 Capital Improvement Program and the Excellence in Operating Budgeting for the 24-25 through 25-26 operating budget, both of which were received from the California Society of Municipal Finance Officers, along with the Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 23-24 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, which was received from the Government Finance Officers Association. In concluding this portion of the presentation, I would like to thank the City Council for their continued support, as well as the efforts of the finance staff who prepared the 24-25 ACFR. At this point, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Amy Meyer, the partner in charge of the audit from Mays & Associates, to present the independent audit report.
There we go. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Yes, so in your packet, we have 4 reports that are for the include the audit results for this year, the annual comprehensive financial report, the memorandum on internal control, the required communications, and the Transportation Development Act report. So an audit is an independent verification that the city's financial statements are materially correct or fairly present the financial position of the city's funds. So we opine on the city as a whole, which is included in the statement of net position and statement of activities. You can find those. I'll give you two references, pages 34 and 35 of the ACFR, which are on pages 393 and 394 of the agenda packet. That shows all of the city's assets and all of the liabilities condensed into two columns, the governmental activities and the business type activities. Business type activities include all of your enterprise funds condensed into one column, and then the governmental activities, all the other funds, the general fund, special revenue funds, and even including the internal service funds. So we opine on that as a whole, and then we opine on individual major funds and non-major funds in aggregate. Now, what makes it a major fund versus a non-major fund is mathematical calculation. There's math that determines which funds are required to be reported as major funds, and then the city can also elect other major funds, but if one mathematically qualifies, it cannot be a non-major fund. And so the major funds can be seen on page 36, which are your governmental funds. General fund is always a major fund. There's no math to that one. It has to be major. And then your enterprise funds are on page 40. So we opine on those individually, and then non-major funds, which is everything else in aggregate, and the everything else are included in individual columns on those statements, but then the details in the back of the report in the supplemental section. So our audit was conducted in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America, as well as government auditing standards. We audit the city, again, as a whole, and that's included, the results that are included in the ACFR. The ACFR is comprised of three main parts: an introductory section, the basic financial statements, and then a statistical section in the back. We audit the middle part, the basic financial statements. We do not opine on the introductory or the statistical section. We are required to read them to make sure they don't contradict the results of the audit, but we're not opining on that information, just the middle part that starts with our audit opinion and goes all the way back to the required supplementary information. We also, as I mentioned, audit the Transportation Development Act funds when those are required. I'll talk about them in a second. And then when the city expends $750,000 or more in any one year of federal funding, we're required to do a single audit, it's called, of the federal programs. The city did not expend more than $750 this year, it's much less than that. And so, now that all the ARPA money and a lot of the COVID money has been exhausted, you don't have the grants that elevate to $750 in any one year, so that there will not be a separate single audit report that we usually do and issue that one in March, but it's not required this year. So in the ACFR, the city's received an unmodified or clean opinion, and that can be found on page 16 of the report or page 375 of the agenda packet. That's the highest level of assurance that we can provide. There is one emphasis of a material note in the opinion, but it's not one that affects our audit opinion. It's related to the implementation of a new Governmental Accounting Standards Board pronouncement, statement number 101, related to compensated absences. It didn't change, it changed the accounting for compensated absences, which sick leave, vacation, and that type of accruals. It changes the math for how the accruals are recorded in the financial statements, not anything to do with what you do from day to day. The MOUs, it doesn't affect the MOUs themselves. It's how they're accounted for in the report. It's now based on whether the usage of not vesting as far as when the liability is recorded. It gets a little confusing, and there was a lot of hours spent on that on the finance staff side, figuring it out this year. And so that can be found in, discussion of that can be found in note 15 to the financial statements. As Sonia had mentioned, the report also includes the management's discussion analysis. As your auditor, I want you to read the whole report, but if you're going to go somewhere, start there, because it gives you that great summary of the year compared to the prior year. And your finance staff prepares the entire report. The only piece of the report that we prepare are the two audit opinions that are included in it. But it's that good summary to tell you what happened from year to year and why the fluctuations from year. So the other report, audit report that we do is the Transportation Development Act audit. Those are required. You had one last year. They're required when you spend funds from the MTC grants, Metropolitan Transportation Commission grants you receive for things like bike paths and other areas. So you had a grant this year for the Spruce Street sidewalk project that required an audit. And it also received that, in that report, there was also an unmodified or clean opinion, and we noted no compliance findings. And you can find that report on page 560 of the agenda packet. So also, and if you have any questions along the way, I tend to talk too fast, so please don't hesitate to interrupt me. So as part of our audit, we also test the internal controls of the city to verify the day-to-day practices are in line with approved policies and recorded in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And so that means that on a sample basis, we trace transactions to source documents for areas including revenue, disbursements, payroll, long-term debt, and capital assets. And I do appreciate something that was in the staff report that talked about internal control, that said the auditors are not part of the internal control. And that's one of those expectation gaps sometimes. We test to make sure that it's there and functioning. We're not part of the internal control of the cities, just to make that clear. As part of our work, we also test the year-end balances on the balance sheets and the statements of net position. So from that work, if there are matters to report, they're included in our memorandum on internal control, and that can be found on page 542 of the report. And if there are matters, they're put into one of three buckets: material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or other matters. So we have no comments this year, no compliance findings or exceptions, internal control matters in our work, which is very rare. But we do have what's called an other matters section just related to upcoming Governmental Accounting Standards Board pronouncements that we want to make sure that, everyone's aware that it might affect the financial statements in the future. And I do want to point out, because I know that there was an issue during the year related to some contract compliance, and why is that not an audit exception when it comes to, to this point, when it comes to a public works contract that exceeded the agreement and the contract amount. So in the scheme of the audit, you have to remember that there's materiality when we look at things. And so we were made aware of that issue. We did also see it when we were looking at the minutes during our audit. And so we definitely asked questions, looked at things. But the one thing to note is that your internal control system found the issue. And so that's, it's not the auditors finding the issue, but we're still, if we saw that it was the tip of an iceberg, we might dig in and do more work, but we didn't deem that necessary because it was not, the excess that was expended was not material in the scheme of the audit. Remember, there's auditor's materiality versus your own, the city's materiality is different. As I always say, $1 is material to me personally, but for the audit, it's going to be something a much higher threshold than that, that we have to work with. So, also included in your packet is the required communications document, because we're required to communicate certain matters to you more than just what I've been rambling on about. And that can be found on page 552 of the agenda packet. And so areas include changes in accounting policies, whether there were any changes implemented during the year. So there were no changes in two accounting policies other than that implementation of GASB Pronouncement 101 that changed the accounting for compensated absences. And that's why you'll see that there's a restatement in the report, because I didn't mention that earlier. It requires the restatement of the beginning balance, and then the ending balance is adjusted as well. There were no unusual transactions in the fiscal year that we noted, and another area that you'll see listed in that report are significant estimates, because the financial statements are one frozen point in time. The balances as of June 30, 2025, and all the activities that happened up into that point. And so there are certain estimates for things where the actual results could vary from the estimates that are in the financial statements at June 30. Significant areas include the fair value of investments. That's the fair value or market value as of June 30. It could change dramatically, based on what's going on in the market the next day. And the accounting rules, there's no requirement to adjust that balance. You report the June 30 balance. So that's a big estimate that's in the financial statements. Other large ones include pension and OPEB liabilities. Those are actuarial projections of what the ultimate cost is going to be. Leases receivable, subscription assets and liabilities, depreciation on capital assets, and then, of course, compensated absences as well. I'm happy to report we had no disagreements with management, and we had no difficulties encountered during the audit. And there were I want to say there was no material audit adjustments. We had no audit adjustments this year, which that's also something, very rare. We usually at least find one, we didn't find any adjustments. We try, believe me. And any uncorrected misstatements, as we call them, were deemed trivial, because as we find little differences, we're required to accumulate them to make sure that they don't become material and need to be recorded in the financial statements. And those were deemed trivial, so there was nothing to report to you. So I wanted to thank the finance team for their help during the year, because we do a two-phased audit. It's a lot of questions and a lot of documents asked for, and they're always, they provide everything we ask for, so it's never a problem. But you never know. That's also something that's not not always the case. So, but we appreciate all their help during the audit. If you have any other questions or any questions at all. Yes.
Thank you. Any questions on this item?
I don't have questions. I just want to say that I'm geeking out, and I miss the general ledger portion of finance, and I'm in the analytics side, and I'm jealous of all of you guys right now. Thank you so much for your presentation.
So the door and the window, the difference between the debits and the credits.
I just miss it. I actually miss Sarbanes-Oxley guidelines and taking that off after Enron. So you did a really good job. Thank you.
I'm guessing the Vice Mayor and Councilmember Maloney do not have any questions or comments. I'd like to say I'm so proud of our finance department and the awards that you've won, the consistent accountability. It just, you're very easy to work with, and we all thank you. You make us like very, very proud. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you. And we do have to move into public comment on this item.
And Madam Mayor, when Councilmember Maloney and I have something to add, we'll raise our virtual hands.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, public comments. Yes, that is the time that we will take public comments. At this time, public comments are open for those present in the council chamber as well as on Zoom. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. I have not received any public comment cards in person, and I don't see any hands raised in Zoom either.
Thank you, Amanda. If there are no other questions or comments, we will move on to the next item, which is actually backwards onto a previous item, which is the public hearing, item G1, Alexis Morris, Director of Community Development.
Thank you to all of the finance team for coming out tonight. I know it's a late night, so thank you. Thank you, Carrie, for your leadership in finance.
Alexis will present the next item regarding an ordinance amending Title 15 of the Brentwood Municipal Code related to building and construction.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. This is the second reading of an ordinance that Council adopted on October 28th, which adopts the Building Standard Code, Fire Code, Wildland Urban Interface Code with local exceptions. State law requires the second reading of this ordinance to be a public hearing, which is not typical of the ordinances that you usually see on consent. So that's why we're here tonight as a public hearing. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much. Any questions for staff? Okay, moving into opening the public hearing and calling on public comments.
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're participating via Zoom, please raise your hand to speak. If you're in person, please file a speaker card. Your microphone will be muted if you speak on items that do not pertain to this agenda item or after the timer has expired. I have 0 requests in person, and I have no hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call vote, please.
Amanda.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Maloney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, public hearing is now closed. Any council discussion on this item? If not, we will take a motion.
I'd move to waive the second reading and adopt the ordinance number 1090.
Second.
And I apologize, I was distracted looking for the ordinance title earlier, but I'm ready now.
Okay.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Brentwood adopting by reference portions of the 2025 edition of the California Code of Regulations, Title 24, California Building Standards Code, with local amendments, amending Chapter 15.04 and amending and adding to Chapter 15.06 of the Brentwood Municipal Code and making required findings of the local climatic, geological, and topographical conditions.
Okay, and a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Maloney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and the item passes. We can move item G2. I'm seeing if we have a sense of wanting to do that to another meeting. Do it, okay. Moving into item G2, Alexis Morris, Director of Community Development, will present the next item, an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 17.725 of the Municipal Code related to the Affordable Housing Program.
Thank you again. So this item is an amendment to the Affordable Housing Ordinance that was initiated by the City Council in 2024. In March of 2024, the City Council held a meeting and provided direction to staff to bring forth a future agenda item to discuss options to increase the affordable housing ordinance's existing 13% affordability requirement. The City Council directed staff to provide information related to an increase in the affordability requirement in a range of possibly 15 to 20%, and provide information on possible impacts to the city's housing developments and state and federal housing laws. The staff brought back a very detailed informational report to City Council in May of this year. The report included information on the city's regional housing needs allocation, current state and federal housing laws applicable to affordable housing and density bonuses, and information on state requirements related to economic feasibility studies. At that May meeting, Council directed staff to amend the affordable housing ordinance to increase the affordability requirement to 18%, with the allocation of affordability percentages to the levels of 9% for moderate income, 5% for low income, and 4% for very low income, and to keep all other requirements and alternatives of the existing ordinance in place. So this slide is just a comparison chart to see in one place how the requirements have changed in the attached ordinance. So you'll see the 13 to 18% change and then the changes to the various percentages. The Planning Commission reviewed considered the amended ordinance on October 21st, and at that meeting, the Commission adopted Resolution number 25-017, recommending that the City Council adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 17.725, and they made no changes to the proposed ordinance at that meeting. So just wanted, since we don't talk about the city's affordable housing program that often, maybe once a year when we amend the ordinance, I would just wanted to provide some background for the public and council's sake. The city's affordable housing program currently consists of 80 owner-occupied units and 22 affordable rental units. The city will have approximately 16 ownership units available in the next 12 months. That's approximate because it depends on construction schedules of the projects. Staff is currently working with multiple buyers to purchase units in the Apricot Estates project, which is currently under construction and is included in this total. This slide shows an example of the affordable incomes and rents in the program. So the first category is an example of the affordable income ranges for a household of 4 and what qualifies as moderate, low, or very low income. Also shown are the examples of the affordable sales prices for a 3-bedroom unit in our purchase program by those income levels. And then the last section shows what our 2-bedroom rental unit rates are in the city's affordable income categories, the same as moderate, low, and very low income. So this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and we also have on the line Barb Kautz from Goldfarb and Lippman to answer any legal questions related to the ordinance and housing law. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, moving into opening the public hearing.
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're participating via Zoom, please raise your hand to speak. If you're in person, please file a speaker card. Your microphone will be muted if you speak on items that do not pertain to this agenda item or after the timer has expired. I have no speaker cards in person or hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you, and we'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Maloney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza? Councilmember Orleman? Mayor Meyer?
Yes, thank you very much. Any council discussion on the item?
No, I just, I want to say thank you to the council for supporting this. I think it's twofold. We're helping people that are in the most need, but also it's a state requirement, right? So the state is pushing us to build more affordable housing, and we need different levers to be able to pull to make those numbers. So, so I appreciate all the support from the council on this item.
Whoops, Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I think I'd asked during my agenda review, and I'd like to find out from Katie if you got an answer back that we add some language that all existing incentives, concessions, and alternatives remain available under the amended ordinance depending on the circumstances.
Good evening. Amanda, if you'd like to share my screen, I can share some language. So during the Vice Mayor's agenda review, she did ask about whether it might be possible to include some language in an appropriate location within the ordinance to assure members of the public that even though the percentage requirement was changing, we were indeed continuing to offer all of the sort of amenities that we had previously offered and that we state in the housing element. So under section 17.725.001, the purpose is listed as subsection B. There are 4 existing lines there, and I would propose that the council consider adding a 5th in this regard. I'll scroll up a little so you can see that. So a further purpose would be to continue to offer all concessions and incentives available to qualifying residential developments under applicable state and local laws. We do discuss alternatives down below in the ordinance, so I left that language out of this section. Vice Mayor, does that suit your needs?
That's fine.
Thank you. If the council might consider mentioning this amendment in any motion you make, that would be helpful to staff.
Thank you for the inclusion, Katie. Thank you.
Sure.
And I just wanted to make a quick statement about, we received a letter from the Building Industry Association, and there were cities noted as reducing inclusionary housing and basically laid out as can't talk tonight, as an example of what we might consider doing in Brentwood. And the cities that were noted were San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, Redwood City, and the entire Sonoma County. And so I just wanted to make a statement that those particular regions or cities do not have any comparison with Brentwood in our typical housing production, transportation infrastructure, overall housing needs. So I did not find that an appropriate comparison at all. So do we have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion. I move to waive the first reading and introduce an ordinance of repealing and replacing Chapter 17.725 of the Municipal Code relating to the Affordable Housing Program with the added amendment regarding concessions, number 5.
I second.
Okay, and then I guess we need to do the ordinance, read the ordinance title.
Thank you. An ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 17.725 of the City of Brentwood Municipal Code, Affordable Housing.
And a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Maloney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and the item passes. Thank you. I'm very excited about this too. I would like to push out item H1, the City Council committees and committee assignments, to a future date uncertain, I guess is an appropriate projection. Okay. Moving into H2, Teresa Fairbanks, Human Resources Manager, will present the next item regarding a side letter between the city and the Brentwood Police Officers Association.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. The item I'm bringing before you tonight is to adopt the side letter between the City of Brentwood and the Brentwood Police Officers Association. The city was notified by CalPERS earlier this year that the current language in the Brentwood Police Officers Association's Memorandum of Understanding does not clearly state the city's list of approved holidays. For holiday pay to be reportable as special compensation and to be in compliance pursuant to Public Employees Retirement Law, Government Code, CalPERS regulations, and the California Code of Regulations, the written labor agreement must clearly state the city's list of approved holidays. In addition, the regulations require that the special compensation must also be duly approved and adopted by the employer's governing body in accordance with the requirements of applicable public meeting laws. The side letter that you see as Exhibit A now clearly identifies the city's list of approved holidays and includes language that has been reviewed by outside legal and CalPERS. If approved, holiday pay will be reportable and eligible as special compensation. In addition, to ensure employees that have recently retired or are nearing retirement that their holiday pay is reportable, the side letter also includes the MOU contract covering July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the attached side letter to amend the MOUs to update holiday language that clearly identifies the city's official list of recognized holidays and language that complies with CalPERS reporting requirements for special compensation. That concludes this item. I'm available to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you, Teresa. Any questions? Okay. I guess we're just calling on public comments. We don't need a public hearing. Thank you.
At this time, as the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're participating via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're in person, please file a speaker card. And I have no cards or hands raised. No hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you. Closing public comments. Any council discussion on this item? Okay, and looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion as set forth in the staff report. I moved to adopt the resolution adopting the side letter and MOU with the Brentwood Police Officers Association.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Maloney,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans,
Yes.
Mayor Meyer.
Yes, and the item passes. Thank you, Teresa. And actually, you're here for the next one, too.
Yes.
Teresa Fairbanks, Human Resources Manager, will present the next item, H3, regarding an amendment to the City Attorney Employment Agreement.
Right. Thank you. The second item that I'm presenting tonight is the first amendment to the City Attorney's Employment Agreement for your consideration. On October 28th, 2025, the City Council met in closed session to review the compensation of the City Attorney. As you know, the council has the authority to make adjustments to the salary and benefits for this position. Following that review, council provided direction to staff to prepare an amendment to the existing employment agreement dated June 11, 2024. The amended agreement is included in your agenda packet for consideration tonight. This first amendment incorporates a compensation adjustment that provides management incentive pay retroactive to July 1st, 2024. This change aligns the city attorney's compensation structure with the management incentive pay provided to department directors as outlined in the compensation summary for the city's unrepresented executive and senior management employees. Staff recommends adoption of the resolution approving the first amendment to the city attorney employment agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, moving into public comment.
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're in person, please file a speaker card. I have no cards in person or hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you. Any council discussion? Okay, moving into a motion.
I got it. As set forth in the staff report, I move to adopt a resolution approving the first amendment to the city attorney's employment agreement.
Second.
Councilmember Maloney,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans,
Yes.
Mayor Meyer.
Yes, and the item passes. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Item H5, Harith Aleem, Director of Parks and Recreation, will present the next item regarding a contract amendment for landscape maintenance services.
Good evening, Mayor Meyer and council members. My name is Harith Aleem, Director of Parks and Recreation. I'm here this evening to present Amendment Number 5 to the city's contract with TerraCare Associates for landscape maintenance services. This contract covers our parks, lighting, and landscape assessment districts, or LLADs, and right-of-way areas also known as R areas. Staff recommends that City Council adopt a resolution to approve and authorize Amendment Number 5 to the existing contract with TerraCare Associates. This amendment extends the contract for a 2-year term from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2027. The amendment costs $9.88 million, with the additional 15%, approximately $1.48 million to cover unanticipated work such as vandalism, storm damage, or newly accepted areas. This brings the total contract authorization to total contract authorization to $33.93 million over the 7-year term that began in January of 2021. We also request the city manager or designee be authorized to approve the necessary documents related to additional work. Funding for this amendment will be sourced from the following: the Citywide Park Assessment District contributing $4.15 million, the Lighting and Landscape Assessment District contributing $4.5 million, and the General Fund contributing $1.2 million. Any additional services will be funded by the location being serviced. The contract includes a maximum 3% annual CPI adjustment, which has already been factored into the total contract amount. The original contract with TerraCare Associates began in January of 2021 with 2 option 2-year renewals built into the agreement. TerraCare has consistently delivered high-quality service and has demonstrated strong community involvement through their tenure. In 2023, the city expanded TerraCare's scope to include our areas following performance concerns with previous contractors. TerraCare has now serviced the Brentwood community for 17 years, and staff continues to be satisfied with their performance and responsiveness. Approving this amendment ensures continuity of landscape services and avoids disruption and delay that will result from rebidding the contract. It also provides the city with flexibility to address unanticipated needs such as vandalism, storm-related damage, vehicle accidents, and newly accepted areas that require maintenance. So as an alternative for council, you may choose not to approve the amendment. If that occurs, staff would need to rebid the landscape maintenance services, which is a lengthy process and could result in service gaps beginning January 1st of 2026. Alternatively, the council may request staff to return at a later date with additional information. We have staff and 3 reps from TerraCare: Justin Stewart, Francisco Quintero, and Julio Yaslava present this evening and available to answer any questions you may have. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Frith. Do we have any questions? Okay, moving into public comment.
At this time, members of the audience are permitted to approach the council on this agenda item, as well as on Zoom. If you're on Zoom and you would like to speak, please raise your hand. I have no public comments in person or hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you. And any council discussion? Okay, then we will take a motion.
As detailed in the staff report, I move to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing the city manager to execute Amendment Number 5 to the contract for landscape maintenance services with TerraCare Associates.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Maloney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and the item passes. And I've been asked to call for a short break. We'll take 5 minutes and we'll be right back.
It's more comfortable, right? The better joke I heard about. Pretty cool.
It is. It's been in the works for many years. We've looked at offered them. So.
No, I think I like some more information about this. I'm not sure if it's legal, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Looking forward to it being. So they're, yeah, they're there.
Wow, that's always one thing.
It's very exciting. A little. And I think it's. Yeah. Now starts our process.
One wall.
Yeah.
Tore down everything else.
We don't get. Yeah.
Coming back from recess and moving into item H6, Casey Weichert, Director of Public Works, will present an update on the cost of the wastewater treatment plant expansion and Senate Bill 1383.
Thank you and good evening, Mayor and Council. As requested in October, staff is bringing this item back to expand on the conversation we had relative to the cost increases associated with the wastewater treatment plant expansion project and to discuss SB 1383 biosolids compliance options. Tonight's presentation will focus on these two topics. First, we'll summarize how the cost estimates for the project evolved from when the project was initially placed in the CIP budget in fiscal year 14-15 to when construction began in 2020, and we'll explain the cost increases that have occurred from the beginning of construction in 2020 through today. After that, we'll discuss the various SB 1383 compliance options that were considered and how staff ultimately arrived at the recommendation to purchase the pyrolysis system. Before we start, if you look at the aerial view photo of the wastewater treatment plant on this slide, I want to take a minute to highlight the magnitude of the asset we're discussing tonight. Since 2000, the city has invested over $200 million into the wastewater system, which represents the largest infrastructure asset investment in the city. It is one of the most valuable assets in the city, and in many ways, our wastewater system is very unique for a city of our size. For example, we are the only city in the Bay Area that can recycle 100% of its wastewater. The wastewater facility produces over 1.5 billion gallons of recycled water each year. During drought years, 2014 through 2016, when other cities had to stop watering parks and landscape medians, and their cities turned dry and brown, Brentwood neighborhoods remained vibrant and green because most of the parks and landscape medians used recycled water. We were also able to give recycled water away at no cost to residents so they could water their homes, lawns, and landscaping when the state mandated potable water restrictions. That benefit for residents was so popular, it was featured on KPIX Evening News, and it remained so popular after the drought that at the request of residents, staff installed an automated system that makes that recycled water available to residents 24/7. To date, we have given away over 64 million gallons of recycled water to residents, one pickup truck load at a time. And while most cities dump their treated wastewater into a creek, a river, or to the bay, Brentwood is able to produce a resource out of it and make it available to the residents. The city has been able to do all these things and still have the lowest wastewater rates of our surrounding neighborhood cities, while maintaining healthy financial reserves. I highlight these things because I don't think we've done a good job communicating the value of the wastewater system and how it positively impacts residents. My hope is that after tonight's discussion, council and the public have some reassurance that their tax dollars aren't going to waste and that staff is providing a cost-effective, efficient operation of a highly complex state-of-the-art system that provides significant value to the residents now and is well positioned to continue providing value well into the future. We'll start by looking at how the estimated costs for the project budget escalated. When staff brings projects like this to council, to start with, they are really just conceptual plans. This project was first included in the fiscal year 14-15 CIP program. While staff knew the concept of the project and its need, there was no data or a design to rely on to be able to calculate a formal estimate. So based on experience with previous projects, using a rough estimate for inflation and making some assumptions, staff arrived at $28 million as a budgetary estimate. In late 2015, an engineering firm was hired and the design work on the project began in 2016. Early in the design process, while it was still in the preliminary concept phase, the engineering team notified staff that they felt the initial $28 million budget estimate was low. So at the engineer's suggestions, during the fiscal year 16-17 budget adoption, staff increased the project budget to $40 million. In February 2017, the city received the engineer's 30% design estimated project cost. In large treatment plant construction projects like this is the point where the project begins to transition from a concept to an actual plan. Prior to this point in the project, The engineering team has not had enough of the design work done to be able to estimate the costs of construction with any confidence. The 30% design estimate includes estimated costs for all elements of the project, including construction costs, change orders, construction management, engineering design services, and CEQA analysis. When all those elements are added together, the 30% design estimated total project cost increased to $58 million. By February of 2017, the project had advanced to the 90% design level, and the engineers' estimated total project cost had increased to $62 million. I want to stop here and apologize because I realize staff has never really explained this before. From the public's perspective, it looks like this project has doubled in cost. Staff should have done a better job of explaining how cost estimates for large projects like this are developed. At this point in the project, the city has not committed to spending any funds except the $4.6 million engineering design contract that was signed in 2015. Until the engineering team has had time to develop the project design to the 90% level, there is very little certainty to the cost projections, and they always change. Most often, the change results in a higher cost, and that's because the more the design team gets into the details, the more complications they find, and solutions to those complications require additions and changes that were not anticipated. Those unanticipated things add cost, and that can give the public the perception that the project costs are escalating out of control. In reality, all the budgeted amounts prior to this point are estimates, not real costs. And for any future projects like this, staff will do a better job of explaining this process and what to expect throughout the life of the project. In early 2020, the city solicited bids for the construction portion of the project. And in May of 2020, the city received 3 bids for the construction portion. The lowest construction bid was $68 million. And when the additional costs of engineering, construction management, and change orders are included, the total project cost became $86 million, which is well above expectations and the authorized CIP budget. This is the first point in the project where we have real costs. Everything prior to this was an estimate. It's also where the project got significantly more complicated. Because the bids were so much higher than anticipated, the project was essentially split into the 2 separate parts. The biosolids upgrade portion of the work was postponed, and the capacity increase portions of the work were awarded. In total, $61 million in contracts for construction, engineering, and construction management were authorized, which was within the approved $70 million CIP budget and allowed the capacity increase portion of the project to move forward. Since the construction contract was approved in 2020, there have been 2 contract amendments for the capacity increase portion of the project. In November of 2023, the construction management contract was amended to add $1.7 million in funding in order to keep the construction management team engaged on the project throughout the construction delay. A second amendment, which adds $1.5 million to the construction contract, is on tonight's agenda. Those 2 contract amendments were necessary because of the project delays due to design issues and COVID impacts. So that summarizes all the changes to the project cost estimates prior to construction and the 2 amendments since construction began. I can pause here if you have any clarifying questions before we move on to the SB 1383 biosolids portion.
I just want to say thank you. This was very clear, easy to understand, and I really appreciate the effort into this deck so far, so thank you.
Certainly. Okay, not hearing any more. We'll move on to the other part of the overall expansion project. Now we'll discuss the biosolids portion as it relates to the SB 1383 compliance. As mentioned earlier, the biosolids portion of the work was postponed when the construction bids for the project came in significantly higher than anticipated in 2020. As a quick review, SB 1383 now prohibits biosolids from being disposed of in landfills. The city has always utilized landfill disposal because the wastewater plant produces unclassified biosolids, and unclassified biosolids are not eligible for other disposal options. So in order to comply with SB 1383, the city must come up with an alternative method of disposing of biosolids. To that end, staff researched available options and in 2023 recommended the city move forward with a process called pyrolysis. This next chart summarizes the options staff researched, and I'll walk you through how we got to the pyrolysis recommendation. There are two options that would allow the city to avoid a large capital project. The first option is to haul liquid biosolids to another wastewater plant for processing. Since other agencies are also dealing with the same SB 1383 issue, it is unlikely the city could find a willing partner for this option. But even if we could, this option would require 52 million gallons of liquid biosolids to be hauled each year via tanker trucks. That equates to 10,000 semi-trucks driving on city roads, which would have impacts to traffic and road conditions, so logistically it's problematic. And in addition, the hauling costs alone would be cost prohibitive. Assuming we could find another agency willing to accept the biosolids, staff estimates the annual operating costs would increase at least $6 million. The other option that does not require a large capital project is to do exactly what we do now, which is to haul dewatered biosolids, but take them somewhere other than a landfill. Because our biosolids are unclassified, there's only one other facility in California that can accept them for processing. The disposal cost for that facility is 4 times more than what we pay to take biosolids to landfill now. And coupled with increased trucking costs, staff estimates the annual operating costs would increase by approximately $2 million. We could also haul the dewatered biosolids to an out-of-state landfill. While out-of-state landfills aren't subject to Senate Bill 1383 and can theoretically accept biosolids from anywhere, there are many cases where people object to receiving other cities' biosolids for no benefits. This causes a high degree of uncertainty around this option, and if the city was successful in finding a willing partner to take the biosolids, the closest one would likely be in Nevada, and the trucking and disposal costs to get to Nevada would be around $2 million annually, which is similar to the annual cost for the in-state facility that could also accept them. All the other options require significant upfront capital expense. The first option would be to install a digester. Digestion is a treatment process that produces Class B biosolids. Class B biosolids are eligible for use as fertilizer and can be used on farms that grow crops like hay or alfalfa and some food crops, but they have limitations that are problematic for growers, so most growers prefer to only accept Class A biosolids, which have less restrictions. In 2024, staff got an estimate of $43.6 million from a contractor to install a digester. In addition to that large upfront capital cost, additional annual operating expenses would be around $1 million. Another option is to install a thermal dryer. A thermal drying system was included in the original expansion project design. The cost when the project was bid in 2020 was $29 million. Thermal drying has an advantage over digestion in that it produces a Class A biosolid, but Class A biosolids can be applied to food crops with very few restrictions and would likely be a viable option for some local farms. Additional annual operating expenses associated with this option are also around $1 million. The final option considered was a pyrolysis system. Pyrolysis is similar to thermal drying in that it produces Class A biosolids, but it goes a step further. The final product is called biochar, and while it can be used as a fertilizer for crops, it also has uses in several markets like paint pigments, textiles, 3D printer filament, and as a concrete additive. This makes it the only option that produces a resource that can be sold. Pyrolysis also has the lowest operating expenses of all the options. And all of those options meet the requirements of Senate Bill 1383, but what SB 1383 doesn't consider is the impact of PFAS. We've discussed PFAS before, but it's a man-made chemical that contaminates everything it touches and lives forever in the environment. PFAS regulations are rapidly developing nationwide. Many states have already enacted legislations to address PFAS. Some states have adopted bans in consumer products, some have set drinking water standards, and some have already banned the use of biosolids contaminated with PFAS. We've been fortunate that we have not detected PFAS in our drinking water, but we do detect it in our wastewater and our biosolids. If we select an SB 1383 compliance option that does not remove PFAS, we risk having to spend additional capital when PFAS regulations are adopted. To that end, only the pyrolysis option satisfies SB 1383 and removes PFAS. As we're getting to the conclusion of this project, I want to try and clarify the pyrolysis installation cost issue. When I recommended purchasing pyrolysis system in 2023, staff believed the project was going to receive $21 million in federal funding that would have been sufficient to cover the installation costs. I should have been clearer that if that federal funding did not come through, the city would have to come up with additional funding for installation. When the solid waste organics project went away at the end of 2024, we failed to get this information back in front of you to explain the ramifications. That's why you're seeing this additional funding request for installation costs now. We still have to comply with SB 1383, and for all the reasons listed earlier, considering the city would stand to lose a considerable amount of its investment if we choose a different option, staff's recommendation is to move forward with the installation of the pyrolysis system. This will not only ensure compliance with SB 1383, but it will ensure the city does not have to expend additional funds for PFAS compliance in the future, and it will yield the best return on the funds already expended. That concludes my presentation, and with that, I'm happy to take your questions.
I have one question, Casey. Thank you for the presentation. Regarding PFAS, the fact that it's not currently being regulated, but your sense is that in the future it will be. What's giving you that sense, and how do you see that rolling out?
State Water Board is already in discussions for requiring PFAS monitoring. We have been required to monitor it in the biosolids and in the effluent of the wastewater treatment plant. But to date, the State Water Board's position has been to wait and see what direction the federal EPA goes, because with the new administration, they've waffled on a few things that were previously assumed to just happen. But what we're seeing in other states, coupled with what the State Board has done to date, it's a virtual certainty that there will be PFAS regulations of some sort.
Thank you. And you mentioned for the installation of the digester, the estimate was from 2024 for $43.6 million. That's already a year ago. So are you thinking that's going to increase dramatically, or seems like everything does?
I think it would be a little bit higher. That number was associated with a digester that was planned to be built as part of the solid waste organics project. So we actually had a hard cost estimate from a contractor for that.
Okay, thank you. With no other questions, we can move into public comment.
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand to speak. If you're in the council chamber, please file a speaker card. I have not received any speaker cards in person or hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you, Amanda. Council discussion.
Again, thank you for the detail. I really appreciate it. I do have what is a regular resident, not like commercial, just a regular like family of four, what could they expect to see over the next few years because of this on their bill? Like, what is the impact to a regular family?
If we are to move forward with this installation and it ends up costing what we think it would cost, which is around 28 or 29 million, that would result in us having to bond for that funding. The preliminary investigations with the finance department, and Carrie can back me up on some of this, but we're looking at an increase of around $1.10 per month per resident for this cost, and that's over a period, I think, of 5 years. But Carrie can probably.
So it's a 5-year bond?
No, just a little bit of clarification. So it would be a 30-year bond. The $1.10 would be per year, so it would be additive. So it'd be $1.10, then $2.20, then $3.30, roughly. So it would take 5 years for us to ramp up to have the debt service match the revenues. So it would be a 5-year phase-in. So at the end of this, if you're asking, hey, 5 years from now, we phased everything in, it'd be roughly, I think we came up with about, I think it was about 9% on the bill, which equates to roughly $5 or so.
And that would be $5 from year 5 to 30, is what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
At that point, the increases would be done and they would just have to be maintained to equal that debt service. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's per household, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
Just so it's really clear for everybody, we already have purchased the pyrolysis machine. We're just waiting for it to show up.
That's correct. It's being manufactured. We've received about half of it. The rest of it is still being manufactured.
Okay. And we're just talking about the installation, and the only reason we're talking about it was because of the organics, the solid waste organics projects being set aside where this was in the installation. Since we're not doing that anymore, we now have to pay for installation in a different place.
That's correct. We were trying to install this system through that solid waste project because that project had the benefit of being eligible for a bunch of tax incentives and credits and would have saved us $21 million.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Maloney?
I just wanted to say I really appreciate the detail in the report. It was awesome.
And I appreciated the accountability part of it. Thank you for that. Okay, do we have a motion?
Unless there's specific council direction to provide on this item, no council action is required.
Thank you for the report. I echo the sentiment of everybody else.
Okay, moving into, thank you, Casey. Moving into H7, Casey Weiger, Director of Public Works, will introduce the next item regarding a funding increase related to the wastewater treatment plant expansion phase 2.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item piggybacks on some of the last item. In October when we met, you had authorized staff to bring back 3 specific agreement amendments related to the construction of this project. The first agreement funding amendment that we're asking for is an additional $1.5 million for the construction contract. That will enable us to get to the end of the project, which is roughly 95% complete now, but there are a few outstanding items that still have to be rectified and accounted for, and we anticipate needing additional contingency funds for that. The second amendment, we're asking for an increase in $2.5 million for Misco Water. That is the supplier of the pyrolysis equipment. When the solid waste organics project changed, we had to relocate and redesign some of that equipment. That resulted in some changes that cost some additional money, but resulted in overall savings in the construction contract. And then the third one is we're asking for $650,000 increase for the engineering firm that is designing the installation to make sure that that pyrolysis equipment integrates and functions with the existing treatment plant. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for staff? Okay, moving into public comment. Thank you, Casey.
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're participating via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're in person, please file a speaker card. I have not received any speaker cards in person, and I have no hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you. Council discussion or a motion?
As set forth in the staff report, I move to adopt a resolution approving an increase in funding authorization with 1 OVRA, 2 municipal, I think you called it municipal water hydration or Misco Water, and 3 waterworks for the wastewater treatment plant expansion phase 2, and 4 authorizing the city manager to execute necessary documents to effectuate these actions.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Maloney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and the item moves forward. Thank you. Item H8, to consider a request from Mayor Meyer and Councilmember Mendoza for allocation of economic development grant funds and staff time for a 2026 winter market or similar project. And Councilmember Mendoza will start, and I will join her when she's done with her part.
This goes back to when we knew Center Cal was going to take over the mall. I knew that Center Cal would be successful in their endeavor to drive sales at the mall. I also knew that there was a risk that our other commercial area, which is the downtown, might lose sales because they're being taken by the mall. And I think we need to find other ways to help downtown drive sales. I think Councilwoman Maloney mentioned it earlier today. So in kind of some brainstorming, we thought about the holiday markets that are in Europe that you guys are checking out this week. And well, you're not there for that, but and I think it's, we see them around in other cities in the United States. We see it in New York City. It definitely drives sales. And I think the one thing about economic development is, it's great to have people from Brentwood shopping or people from Brentwood coming downtown, but we need to bring in warm bodies from other cities to be able to drive our economic development. We cannot survive just on Brentwood dollars alone. We need Brentwood dollars plus other dollars. And, having worked retail for so long, we're always trying to find ways to drive sales. And I think that if we create a tourist attraction of some kind, that might help. And that's when I reached out to the mayor and we started talking about the, European Christmas markets. And they're like sheds or kiosks, it depends on where you go. Some of them, they're clear all the way through. But I think I'd like to try that. I think we need to find a location. I think some people are making assumptions about locations, but we really don't have a location yet. We need to find something that's available and affordable. I think there's funds left over from economic development last year. I think there'll be funds this year. This could become a priority project, kind of like the parade or the concerts in the park kind of situation on the economic development side for those grants. But I think it's something worth talking about. What I envision is having booths, having Santa, having a stage where we can have our local kids come in and do, dance recitals or, whatever the case may be, have people sign up to read some kind of Christmas book. So, involving the community in a way that they feel like it's theirs. So that's kind of where we were going with it. There's details in the staff report about what we were thinking. I'm thinking it would be probably just like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, unless we felt like it was the return on investment would be good to have it. I don't know if it would be managed by Park and Rec or we would get a consultant to do it. I don't know how that would look, but that's why I'm also requesting a subcommittee so that we can explore it and bring it back to council for their review.
Thank you. And to add to that, I think just to reiterate, it is we're talking about not necessarily being downtown. That is one option to consider, but we have other spots within the city that could potentially be feasible, and that we would focus primarily on local businesses and their ability to sell goods and food, refreshments, whatever. Of course, that it could bring about not only the opportunity to increase local sales, but it also could bring some part-time jobs for the holidays. It's kind of a melting pot of ideas and cultures, and it could foster a sense of community. It's for all ages and abilities. And one of the things that we talked about too is on this ad hoc committee that Councilmember Mendoza mentioned, that we would like to see a local business owner, local community members to be a part of that and offer some feedback as we do some planning if this moves forward. Do we have any questions from anyone? Okay, so moving into public comments on this.
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're participating via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're in person, please file a speaker card. I have no speaker cards in person or hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I'd like to actually add to that. So probably for the last year and a half, I've been having conversations with folks in the community about bringing a Christmas market type of themed event to Brentwood. And I've been culturally speaking, obviously I have family here, so I've been coming to Christmas markets for a very long time. Normally they last from November till Christmas Eve. I do agree with the mayor and Councilwoman Mendoza that maybe we start off with a weekend. The concept of the Christmas market is basically you have decorated vendor booths, you have local food and drinks. Our local businesses can come out and utilize some of these booths to actually sell their products, have live entertainment, whether it's choir, local performances, or like Councilmember Mendoza mentioned, if there is the library or the community center that incorporates into reading events for smaller children. The Christmas markets here have the food, the local vendors, the hot drinks, whether it's for adults or for children, hot cocoa and whatnot. It also has kind of a smaller, more intimate type of carnival rides for children. So you have like little train rides, you have little carousels. And the cool thing is one city doesn't just have one, they pop up in different parts of the cities here. And it brings up such good camaraderie. The really good thing about it too is that if you have a stand, what they call it is a glue vine stand, each little booth will have its own individual cup for either that town or that business. So it brings a whole different type of kind of marketing or logos to it, and people visit them from all over the world, and they're really beautiful. So the last time I spoke about this to Anna, probably for the last year, with PJ Jockway from the DBC, and I recently on October 24th, really, when I spoke with her about it, and I showed her pictures from the past Christmas markets that I've attended, just so she can have a visual. And maybe, I didn't know if maybe it would be a city sponsored event, or how can we partner with what's the nonprofits that we have already. So I think when we do bring it back, we need to make sure city staff has the time and the bandwidth to take this on, or how do we partner with our local nonprofits to make something like this happen. If we did extend it, let's say we had a weekend of the Makers Boulevard, how do we collaborate with them to kind of create the first like visual or the first kind of take? So I don't know, I think I'm open to seeing different ideas and talking to city staff about and involving the community in this, since it would be a huge thing. And I think if we did do it, we would attract a lot of tourism. It would become a huge attraction for us.
Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor?
Yes, hopefully my feed is fine. I think there were some times where Councilmember Maloney was a little off, but yeah, so basically I like the idea. I actually love it now that I'm here in Germany doing Christmas markets. But I do have some concerns that I think it would be great for us to allow staff time and attention to flush out some of the concerns that I may have. So I would wholeheartedly support giving this more time and consideration for us to have it come back. One is that the structures that I'm seeing here are not just something that's easy to break down. And one concern would be about like the storage or who's going to build that stuff. Because I've had the opportunity to work on an event directly with staff with Parks and Rec, I know that a lot of time and attention goes into when they throw, and they do everything in excellence. So when they do it, they spend a substantial amount of time. And I think something like this would have to involve a substantial amount of community engagement, meaning we'd need to bring, our Lions, our Rotary, our Chamber, our DBC, our Seroptimists. I mean, like the list will go on and on of all of them to the table. So I think it would be nice to have a meeting with those groups to figure out how to make this a valuable asset and commodity that we can bring back. I'm also concerned when we talk about, because I am on Debbie, I'm concerned when we put things like Christmas in front of the name of something, that it is not as inclusive. So I think we should be careful about naming it just Christmas. I'm a Christian, and so Christmas is everything for me, but I think also to be fully inclusive, to call it a holiday event or a solstice market may be more inclusive. I also want to ensure that whomever we partners up with will be inclusive about the type of vendors that we have, so that we're not just getting the same types of vendors, that there is diversity in our vendors. And then I'm also concerned, or will want us to make sure that reporting requirements for tax amounts are being reported. A lot of the businesses that come to our that set up now, some of them, I won't say all of them, but some of them are like based businesses. And I would want to make sure that we are going to absolutely not just create a space for people not to report tax revenues that they're going to get, that we actually get tax dollars from some event like this. So yes, I see the happy, joyous thing that the markets bring here now, being at the Christmas markets in Germany. I have been enjoying the Glühwein. If you don't know what Glühwein is, you will enjoy it with the additives that are put in there. And the spiked hot chocolate with whipped cream is really great. But there are a lot of different components. We have to look at ABC regulations, very much like Oktoberfest, if we're going to add an alcohol component. And what is the bandwidth of our staff, considering that they will have a parade that they're, co-working with the chamber on, and also the tree lighting. I love the idea and I appreciate you all bringing this forth. But I think it's going to be more than something that can possibly even happen next year, to be honest with you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
When I initially started reading this, the shopping idea wasn't like jumping out at me. I wasn't all over it. But the concept, I'm from Europe, I understand the Christmas markets. The only concerns I had when I initially read it, I think it's a great idea. I think we need to have staff spend some time researching and looking into it. We're already brought up by Councilmember Maloney and Vice Mayor Pearson with the bandwidth for our staff having to be really cognizant of if Parks and Rec take this on, that's one more project they have to take. And then if this just happened to end up in City Park or in this area, the concern of the grounds being trampled over again and again. So as long as we're taking all of that into consideration, it's something I think we should take a look at.
So,
And if I may add again, I'm
yes.
sorry. If there is an ad hoc committee to be created for this in the future, I'd love to be considered to be on it as well.
Part of the staff report was to create an ad hoc that we were both hoping to be on. But I think that will be up for discussion as it moves forward if it does. I'm trying to remember where we are in this. Did we do public comments yet? We did. Okay, thank you. The agenda item is titled Winter Market specifically, but I 100% agree with you, Vice Mayor, on making sure it's inclusive and that it represents Brentwood, not necessarily just a portion of Europe for that matter.
Through the mayor, I apologize. I don't think that we did. I think I've opened so many. Okay,
We
now
did.
I'm being confirmed. I just wanted to make sure I
That's
wasn't.
exactly where I was. Thank you for confirming.
Thank you.
Whoops, I turned myself off. I share some of the other concerns that were brought up as well. I think it's important for us to really consider staff capacity. And Councilmember Mendoza mentioned potentially working with nonprofits, potentially working with a consultant. So if we can use some of the LUD funding, the economic development funding, to consider what that would look like, I think that's a wise choice, is to look at that as an option. Let's see. And I think the cash transactions and the tax reporting is a valid concern as well. But I would like to move this forward. I don't know what other comments. Did you have other comments to make?
Do you want to make the motion or do you want me to make the motion?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
And if we're going to bring a motion, I mean, if this is going to be an ad hoc committee, I'm sorry, but I wholeheartedly believe it would be an error for us not to put Councilmember Maloney on there. I don't know if I appreciate that you all are both the authors of this, but if you have not personally gone to the Christmas markets throughout Europe and seen them through all the countries she's been in, she's a resident expert. It would be an epic failure not to have her on a committee. So I would wholeheartedly support that. I've learned so much just from her like in this process, I've learned so much. So I just wanted to add that on there. If that vote is about creating a committee, then I would want to, let's talk about who's going to be on the committee too.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about it because I think you were right, Vice Mayor, in saying I think we need to start it fast because I think a year is going to be, I mean, you did Juneteenth and like you and staff worked your butts off. And
yep.
Yeah, so I think it's something we have to start first. I mean, I don't know how we decide who's on the committee. I've been thinking about this for a long, long time, so I would really like to be on it. So I don't know how you feel about it.
We're having our committee discussion next month. As much as I'd love to be on it, I would be willing to give it up mostly because of capacity, to be honest, more than anything else. I would love to be on it. This is 100% up my alley, and I'm following all kinds of bloggers that do this and have been for years. Not that I have not been to Europe. Actually, it's not in the budget these days, but I would be willing to forego that if that is that critically important to Councilmember Maloney. And I guess we could put a motion on that, or we could decide on that part of it for the committee discussion next month.
I think we can, I mean, I'm ready to make a motion if you guys are okay with that. So I would like to make a motion.
Before we make the motion, is it possible to kind of have Director Harith Leem kind of speak to his opinion?
What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. I sincerely appreciate the consideration of staff time and capacity, particularly during this time of year. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. I think it's a great suggestion to engage the community and build a coalition. Thank you.
Thank you. So then I would like to make a motion to spend, did you have a question, Harold? No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to comment that, this strategy is a consistent economic development strategy with people having so many options like DoorDash and streaming. There's no reason to go out of the house. Now it's about the experience. And so what you're creating is this winter market that's going to create experience along with the safety and the environment of Brentwood. So this is a really good strategy. And just to Vice Mayor Pearson's point about ensuring that not only is this a good time, but it's also an economic and it's has economic impact to the city of Brentwood by ensuring that we have vendors that are coming and that they're paying their fair share to be a part of the process.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So I'll make a motion to spend staff time and money along with forming of the committee with Councilwoman Maloney and myself, and that we start hashing out all of the details as well as trying to figure out addressing the concerns. And whenever staff is ready, I'm ready to start doing that.
And I will
That's my
second it.
motion.
I'll second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Can I jump in super quick? So the title of this clearly contemplates the staff time and money on a winter market. It didn't really say much about the committee and forming a new committee.
The committee's down on the last page.
Oh, forgive me. Thank you.
So
Can we get a roll call, please?
wait, real quick. Faye, do you have anything to add to that?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Maloney?
Can you thumbs up if that was a yes?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and the motion passes. Do we have any requests for future agenda items? Oh, did I skip over one? I'm
Vice
sorry,
Mayor Pearson,
everyone.
did you want to start on this one?
Well, let me announce it first.
Oh.
Vice Mayor Pearson and Councilmember Mendoza introducing the next item, which is a request to concerning the affordable housing program.
Did you want me to go or did you want to go?
You or I can go. It's the one about the income changes, right? Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, so we believe that the council should take a comprehensive look at our affordable housing program, specifically the goals, buyer notification and selection process, and whether portions of our municipal code need updating to reflect today's realities. Recently, Councilmember Mendoza and I unfortunately had to witness, we've noticed several members in our community going through the process and it not being consistent with what our goals are. And I think also like to add that there are currently code section 17.725.001 through 17.725-0.11. The code section needs to be updated to today's realities. Specifically, more expression in the purpose as to it has no explicit mention of equity, accessibility, anti-discrimination. It doesn't address special populations that struggle with housing and affordability. For example, seniors, our disabled residents, extremely low income veterans, even teachers and first responders. Also, it should provide equitable access to housing regardless of race. It should include language that in our city, we provide equitable access to housing regardless of race, ethnicity, disability, gender, age, and immigration status. Our definitions, again, are also outdated. We don't talk about or define what special needs populations are. accessibility units, and extremely low housing. Also, we need to look at adding an ADU exemption and for ADU clusters. And so there's some other language that could be added in the municipal code being looked at, but the process is also something, the process of notification is really disheartening. Some people have stated that they've been called saying, you know, you've been selected from the list for your house. And so in their mind, they believe they're having the house. But what they don't quite understand is that you have to qualify to get said house. And so I think we need to look at all of those things, especially since we have raised our numbers up a little bit higher. We're going to have a lot more people who will be qualifying. And so, Councilmember Mendoza, do you need to add anything, or would you like to add more?
Yeah, I think, I think in just the catalyst for us was that someone who qualified to be on the wait list, because there's a wait list, qualified at a certain range, and their income changed and their income went down. So they're still low income, but because they qualified at a certain level, there's no mechanism to allow people who are still low income to move around in those. And I'd like to find a way, because I mean, I see it in my day job. I think we're going to go into a recession, and we're going to see, and we see layoffs happening everywhere. So where you might have had a two household income, you're going to see one household incomes, and you're going to see incomes decreasing. And I still want to support those people. They filled out the application. They're on the list. So I want to find a way to pivot them and move them, like, okay, so you're next in line. Do you still qualify? You don't. Let's move you down. So do we have one set of one wait list that then you pick the next one and make sure they still qualify before moving on to the next, or something along those lines? Because it was absolutely heartbreaking to me to have a resident call me in tears because they've been waiting for a house and they love Brentwood and they don't want to leave Brentwood, and they're a big part of the community. And someone was so excited to get on the list and then so devastated to not get the house because their income got reduced. It was just heartbreaking. And I felt like I failed what my intent was. Like, I think Vice Mayor Pearson was talking about, it's just like, what's the intent? And are we filling that intent with our policies?
Okay, any questions on this item? I do not have any questions. Can we move into public comments, please?
At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on this agenda item. If you're participating via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're in person, please file a speaker card. I have received no public comments in person or hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you, Amanda. Moving into discussion. I would fully support this. I think it makes a lot of sense to get clarification on all of these different sections of this code. Do we have a motion?
Would you like to make the motion, Vice Mayor? Or do you want?
Can you make the motion for me?
Yeah, so I make a motion that we move forward with reviewing the municipal code for our affordable housing program and clean up language where necessary and adjust language, as well as finding another way to manage the wait list in order to continue to fulfill the goal, which is providing affordable housing.
May I ask a quick clarification? Yes. So our municipal code language that deals with this topic, and which you amended tonight, right, to change the percentages, that really focuses on what is required of residential developers. When you come in and develop, this is what you need to provide to us. So it sounds like what you all want to talk about is more of the affordable housing program side and how it gets implemented and how residents interact with it. So if we could just broaden the motion a little bit to not just look at the ordinance, but also look at the program, I think that's where you really want to focus. And I don't want us to come back with something narrow that won't allow you to address what you really want to talk about.
Okay.
I can restate it. I think I kind of wrote it up. Would you like me to restate it, Alvita?
Yes, go ahead.
I make a motion that we take a comprehensive look at our affordable housing program, specifically the goals, buyer notification, selection process, and whether portions of our municipal code need updating to reflect today's realities.
Alexis, does that provide enough clarity to bring something back?
Well, I think the vice mayor mentioned some particular items that she wanted to make sure we looked at in the ordinance. So that's helpful if that's included in the motion, because updating the ordinance to reflect today's realities is a very broad discussion. But you mentioned definitions, fair housing type issues, equity issues, disability issues. So if you want to refer back to the previous list that you mentioned, we can certainly look at that in terms of amending the ordinance. If there are other aspects of the ordinance specifically that you think need to be amended, that would be helpful to point that out. We can certainly do a separate analysis of whether it's legally up to speed, so to speak. Since we just updated it, we just had outside legal look at it in terms of, current state laws and legislation, but we can certainly take another look at it. But your list was a little more precise. If that's what you want us to look at in terms of the ordinance, we're happy to do that.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all the above.
Okay.
As well as the waitlist procedures.
Certainly. So
Yeah.
I would think what I'm envisioning while you're talking is we would talk about two things. One would be the ordinance, and then we would talk about how we implement the program. And we would give you an explanation of how the program works today. And then you could provide us direction or suggestions of how you would like to change those administrative aspects of the program, which aren't necessarily in the ordinance. Does that make sense?
And so, yes, and I'll clarify even more. I think I talked about updating our purpose, and we can go back to look at that. And I talked about recommended new definitions, special needs, accessible unit, extremely low income housing. Also talked about, can we add an ADU exemption for ADU clusters? I also like to add some information more on income allocation. We already did our affordability percentages, and then can we look at anti-displacement, like adding a right of return or reallocation assistance or replacement unit rules? And then the last thing was the affordability term. And also in that process, the process of transparency, buyer notification, waiting list management, and public reporting requirements that is forward facing to the public.
Can I ask a quick question about your ADU clusters? ADUs are used by HCD as units to fulfill our affordable housing requirements with the state when we do our housing elements. So are you saying that you don't want some ADUs to be required to build affordable housing units?
No, I'm saying that I want I want them to come back to talk about the ADU exemptions.
So eliminating the ADU exemptions from the ordinance?
Is it already in there? I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, so
Okay, then
ADUs are,
never mind.
so the Affordable Housing Ordinance does not apply to accessory dwelling units, and it doesn't apply to projects of 4 or fewer units. So if you have a single family home that has an ADU and a junior ADU is allowed by law, the Affordable Housing Ordinance would not apply to that new construction.
Okay. Thank you.
So are those amendments to the motion? Okay. Alexis, does that help?
Yes, that
Okay.
definitely helps to narrow down what about the ordinance you would like to look at.
Okay, thank you.
Because of the subject as sort of broad here, I want to make sure that we are able to deliver this in a timely manner. So what are you thinking in terms of having us bring this back to you? Certainly the process of how we manage the system can come back quickly. Doing the analysis of the different components of the legislation, it might be a little more complex. So I want to make sure that we are able to meet your expectations here.
Yeah, I would be okay with it coming back in the two separate buckets if you need to. And I'll just trust your judgment on how long you think up to 2 months, a couple months usually, I think, to review something like this, or is there something else?
Well, I think if we separate it out, the bringing back the administration of the program, like I said, we're simply going to be, all we're going to be able to do at this point is present to you what we already do, and it's going to be up to council to provide us feedback or, direction to change those administrative procedures based on the discussion that we just had, right? So we can bring that back depending on agendas within 2 months, right?
Okay.
It doesn't need to be a public hearing or any sort. The ordinance, I think, given the types of issues that you've listed, that would take a little bit of time, probably involve outside legal. So that would take longer to get a full analysis for the council. So I think separating it out makes sense if you want it to come back quicker.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with, we always go right to, and I'm sorry, what's wrong with inside legal? Do inside legal know how to do, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but like, that's the first comment, is that we always have to defer to outside legal. Like, inside legal should have knowledge of this, right? And it shouldn't take a long time. So we have a municipal code committee. We've not met, but maybe one time. I don't know why we're not meeting. This is something that can be brought to that committee, but like, do we always have to just automatically like go to outside legal?
And I can answer that. We do use outside legal, as do most cities I know, for items touching affordable housing, because the law is so constantly changing in this regard, and we want to make sure we're staying abreast of all of the changes. It is a highly specialized area at this point, so our office works closely with like Goldfarb and Lippman, who are specialists in this area. This is what they do, to make sure that we are bringing you something that's legally defensible.
And Vice Mayor, if I can clarify, the reason beyond expertise, the reason I suggested outside legal was just, it seems like council wants this to come back more quickly, and that just adds capacity and allows me to work on an ordinance slightly quicker.
Okay. So can you, I guess I can't give you all a time estimate. This is something that you all are doing. So I would expect you all could give us a time estimate. If this is something that, Katie, that outside legal handles because they're specialists, what time estimate would you give since you and most cities have been doing this with outside legal?
I would say that since we're approaching Christmas right now, we would probably really get to work on this together sometime in January and work with Alexis's shop to make sure that we had sort of a full scope of what the requested changes were. Alexis, 3-4 months?
Yeah, I think that 3-4 months for the ordinance portion is reasonable.
So I would just recommend that we do, as we talked about doing it in 2 components. One being the first one on the administration, we can deliver that in the first quarter of next year, which is sometime between February and March. On the legislative side, we would look to be somewhere maybe in the second quarter, maybe April.
Yeah, I think that's
no later than April.
Yes, I think that's entirely feasible. We're also working on another council future agenda item for Measure Q that we're looking to bring back, early next year. So we have a couple things on our plate that we're trying to get back, Q1, early Q2.
Okay, so I think our first and our second, does that still hold, Patanisha? Vice Mayor Pearson, sorry. I think yes.
Yes, sorry, I had a hard time getting to the mute
No,
button.
it's okay.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Maloney?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and the item passes. Request for future agenda items. I'll take it nice and slow. I have one that's actually not as much a future agenda item as it is just a request for a presentation, but I'd like to have staff give us an overview of the impacts of SB 707. It's pretty basic. Any questions on that? Okay. Any other future agenda items? Okay. So I'd like to request that Darren join the council up at the podium, and any staff who wants to come. If any staff wants to join us, that would be lovely too. Whoa, okay. So, Darren, this is your last official meeting as the Assistant City Manager for the City of Brentwood. And we would like to thank you for your term here, for being a thoughtful coworker to staff, for being an incredible support system to council. I'm sure there's a lot that we're all going to want to say, but before we do, I'm going to go ahead and read this because that's what we do. This certificate of recognition is presented to Darren E. What does E stand for? I know your last name. Okay. Thank you. Might as well know all of his secrets before he leaves. In recognition of his dedicated service as Assistant City Manager from January 2022 to December 2025, and an appreciation of his leadership, collaboration, and commitment to excellence in public service, which have made a meaningful impact on city operations and the quality of life in the Brentwood community, presented this 9th day of December 2025. Would you like to say anything before we do? We'd like for you to say something.
Mayor and City Council, staff that's here, staff that's at home, staff that'll watch this later, and also to the community. It's been an amazing almost 4 years. And Brentwood is it's a great, amazing place to live and to work. And it's because of the great employees that we have that provide quality services to our residents on a daily basis. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each and every one of those employees. I wish I could sit here and literally read each one of their names out to you and tell you something that they do on a daily basis. They really are the unsung heroes in our community that keep our community safe through our police department. You know, our IS team that makes sure that our data isn't, taken. Human resources that provides, a process where we hire the right people. Public Works, engineering. I could go through every single one and tell you stories about each division and each employee. We truly have an amazing city. And so again, to the City Council, to all the staff that's here, thank you.
Thank you. And I will start by saying that you have brought amazing changes and improvements to, and I go back to this all the time, the relationships between City Council and the staff in a way that I don't even know we realized that we didn't have what we really wanted until we got it. What you were able to do to help kind of bridge any kind of gaps and to make us feel much more connected and cohesive made a huge difference for us. I'd like to say personally that you helped me, guided me through my first year as mayor in large part, and I can't appreciate you enough for that. I'm very excited for your opportunity. I think this is going to be a fantastic, exciting move for you. And I hope that we will cross paths. We know that we will. You're going to stay living in Brentwood, which we all appreciate. And just really, Darren, you've done an amazing job here. And I think the way that staff respects you, the community respects you, it all speaks to who you are as a person, you are as a leader. So thank you personally. And I'm hoping other council members will speak too.
So I just want to say thank you for always taking my calls and always guiding me. I really appreciate you. You are so kind. And what she said about you helping us bridge those relationships with staff was so important and so appreciated. We're going to miss you a lot. I think there's someone else in this chamber that's going to miss you probably more. Michael. A couple, yeah. So I'm glad that you're not moving. So we'll get to see you around town. So we might, pull you into a parade if we see you next parade cycle.
I absolutely hate public speaking, but if there's somebody I'm going to do it for, it's going to be you. As true to your character, we're trying to honor you, and as a true leader, you try to cast the light on the rest of the employees. We appreciate everything you have done to bring the city together and to lead us to the point where we are now. It's because of you. Part of it is because of you, and we truly appreciate that.
Darren,
Vice
thank
Mayor
you so much. for
Councilmember
everything that
Maloney.
you've done for us in Brentwood. I really, really appreciate the relationship that we've built. You have such a vivacious personality, and you know how to mend and pull people together, and I really appreciated that about you. I'm so happy that you live in Brentwood, because I know this is not a goodbye. It's see you again and see you soon, and we'll probably see each other, and we'll see you in the Brentwood community more than anything. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to see you in Brentwood again at some point, and I'm really excited for you, and I can't thank you enough for everything you brought to our city.
And you know, Darren, they say the best for last. So I'll just go ahead and go. Yeah, it has been a pleasure to serve in the city of Brentwood with you, Darren. Specifically, I have seen you praise God to some Kirk Franklin, and I've seen you dance to some I Got Five on It at a concert with quite a bit of rhythm. And I want to tell you that I'm so grateful to also be a fellow Rotarian with you. It's been an honor and a privilege. The city of Pittsburgh is getting a real one. Don't go taking all of our Brentwood secrets over there. But yes, we'll see you around all the time. And as saving the best for last, the mayor put me on the spot once, and now I'm going to put her on the spot. If you know the song, sing it with me. It's by Roy Rogers. And this is how I wanted to send you off, Darren. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Yay. Happy trails, Darren. God bless you in your endeavors.
I did not want to drop the certificate. Very nicely done. Sorry, I didn't know all the words. Okay, this is your certificate. Please hang it on your wall in your office so everyone there knows how much you are appreciated here. Does anyone in staff want to speak? Did you want to?
Let's get a picture.
Okay.
Give me and Faye in the shot now. There you go. Thank you.
So before we have our official adjournment, we've lost a few community leaders recently, and we had planned on our last meeting to close in honor of at least one, and now we have two to close in honor of. So I'm going to start by honoring Mr. Rod Lind. Rod Lind lived in Brentwood with his wife since 1989. He was the owner of Linco Services in Brentwood from 1990 to 2007. He had 3 sons and 6 grandchildren, was a Brentwood Lion for over 30 years, and was president 3 times. He was also a musician for over 60 years, electric and upright bass, played in multiple bands, including being a member of the praise team at Resurrection Ministries for over 25 years. I will miss him personally, as I'm a fellow Lion with him, and we wish the best for his family and send condolences to his family as well. And then our second one is for Mr. John Elam. John was pretty well known in the community for being an advocate and was not afraid to speak up for people that couldn't necessarily raise their own voices. He was married to his wife, Julie, had his 2 children, Rob and Kristen, was a bat boy for the Dodgers. Evidently, that was a big deal for him. A former city manager of Brentwood, an active volunteer for the Brentwood Public Library, the Brentwood Senior Center, and several area nonprofits. And he also served on several area boards and committees. Both gentlemen lived lives of service and both left Brentwood better for their commitment to make it a better place. So if we could close in honor of Rod Lynn and John Elam, I would appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. And with that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Maloney?
She's frozen.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Pearson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes.
Councilmember Orlemans?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Avita Singh from Germany.
Bring us some spiked cocoa.
I will. Today's my birthday.
Oh, wait.
happy
not yet. Out
birthday.
here, you still have an hour and a half.
Oh, it's my birthday in Germany. Boo.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'll call you tomorrow, our time.
Bye.